We're back again. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the decider matches for the Gamestars League for Brawl Stars. I am Neefel, joined by Teddy as always. And now we're going to send 3 more teams to the international finals, and 3 will be heading home, sadly, today.
Yeah, we already have 13 teams going to the international playoffs, 3 more to go. And that is all going to be decided today. Which ones make it through to the international playoffs, which ones go home. We can already see here Noble Lead, Big Clan, BB Army, Navi, and Reply Totem are going through. The question is, who between Unima and Chernobyl are going to be going? Who between Kozaki and Uchiha Clan? And who between Team Activium and Platoon will secure their spots to the also important international playoffs. The teams that lose, they go home at the end of their journey for this first season of Gamestars. So a lot on the line. The stakes are high, and every single team today is going to be fighting for their lives to move on to our playoffs.
That's right, indeed. As you well said, today these matches very straightforward, no kind of complications in the slightest. But Group D, that's already been determined. Like you said, Navi and Totem will be going straight into the international finals. Max 2 and Bright have already gone home. But now we've just got 3 matches left, as 13 teams have already qualified. We need 3 more teams to join them, Teddy. And these are the potential 3 teams going at it. So to start off the day, it will be Shinobu Dribblers versus Unima Gaming. And then we'll have Kozaki versus Uchiha Clan. That should be a great match to watch. And the last match of the day will be Activium versus Platoon. Platoon have made some improvements, it looks like, over the last week or so. But the only problem is Activium is quite a stacked roster. We'll have to see what they can do and see if they can handle the pressure, as this is all these teams' last chance to move on forward. So very exciting stuff. As usual, every match will be a best of 5 sets, and each set will of course be a best of 3 as well, to determine exactly what is going to happen between these teams. But very excited to find out the outcome here, Teddy.
Yeah, so am I. Honestly, I feel like we have the best day of the qualifiers today, just because there, as you said earlier, there are no complications. There's no bracket, no winners, and loser brackets, none of that stuff. It's as simple as you win, you move to the playoffs, you lose, you go home, and it's the end of your journey for this season. So yeah, I just love the contrast, you know. Usually there were so many shenanigans, so many little shortcuts or complications. Here it just as plain and simple as it can get. And I honestly, I'm just so thrilled to see how our international playoffs bracket is going to be looking like here. This was Chernobyl and Unima Gaming's Group A, where Noble Elite went on top, beating both of those teams. They managed to both beat Module 7 to get into this position, into this decider match. So this is how they're going to be playing it. It's hard to, make a big difference between them because they both have pretty decent wins against Module 7. It was not the easiest match, but we saw that Module gave them quite a run for their money to both teams, but they also both got absolutely destroyed by Noble Elite Croco. So very similar results in this second round of the group stage.
I'm curious about Unima's ban here, as in who they're going to select. Look at some of the brawlers which have been selected on the side of Chernobyl Dribblers. 15 times Gene's been selected, Barley 12, Max 13. I know the numbers are higher due to the fact that, more games and matches have been played over the course of the stages, but 15 Genes, that's a huge amount. Reliable though, he can't really speak as he's actually got 12 Maxes, Angel 11 Stews, but yeah, I think when it gets to a point now where, we're further into the stages, I can understand a few players will probably have quite a stacked, brawler composition, which they'd like to use, depending on the modes. But, only a couple of the others have, quite a consistent layout of who they'd like to use overall. So very, very interesting. And I think when you see some of these players on these teams select a brawler which they love in particular, this is what is going to be even more important in terms of the bans and who they're going to ban out later on, as we will see the head-to-head between Hero and Angel. And as you see there, not really too much to say. Neg 20 for Hero and Neg 15 for Angel. Hero with a lot more damage, so kind of gives you a clear idea on what role he's probably playing, and also how many games or how many more games he's been playing as well. So it's not really like a Hoover here, Teddy, where he just cleans up. He does a huge amount of damage across the board.
Yeah, if you're wondering why their KD is so low compared to some other teams and players, you have to keep in mind as well that they both got destroyed by Noble Elite Croco in the group. So that's a trio sweep where you don't get a lot of damage, where you don't get a lot of kills, and where you die an awful lot. So that is one of the reasons why those stats are going to be so poor for them. But we got our bans ready. Let's give them a look. Poco on the side of Chernobyl Dribblers, and then we have Bell for Unima Gaming. This is definitely interesting. I feel like Poco ban is all right. Poco is a strong brawler. He just recently got nerfed just a little bit. Whereas Belle, she got nerfed a little bit as well, but she's still very, very, very strong. Like, no doubt about that. Poco also still such a powerhouse of a brawler. It's amazing in this game how many brawlers are like support brawlers, but still individually they're absolutely amazing. And I think that, like, I just love that approach at designing a video game where a very team-based brawler can be dominating, and that's what Poco is right now.
Yeah, you're right. It's amazing on top of that, like, how versatile some of these brawlers are and how diverse they can be. The fact that they're still one of the strongest even after a small nerf, it's kind of shows how strong they were before the patch even existed. As before we do go any further, maps and modes have been selected, so we will be going on first with some assembly required, Land Ahoy, Dueling Beetles, Fast Folk and Monterey if we go to set number 5. So some okay maps here. Be curious to see how things will pan out in the first set. Give us a bit of a bit of a flavour, a bit of a taster of exactly what's going to happen in this series. And it's exciting because, we've already got 13 teams waiting, still got 3 more to send. And I mentioned it earlier, it's not going to be as complex as before. It's literally straight in, you win, you're through, you lose, you're out. You know, it's simple as that. And this is what we love to see. And of course, the international finals will have their own group stages and double eliminations next week. So that's going to be, it's going to be a long one, but long and exciting nonetheless. We don't want to give you guys a short straw and only have very few games after they've qualified. So we'll have to see what they can do here. Any predictions, Teddy, as what you would expect from these two teams? Because I know you don't know a huge amount, but maybe you can go by what you've seen in the past couple of stages in the groups.
Honestly, I'm expecting a pretty close match here. We have two teams that have very similar results in this group. On paper, things are just lining up perfectly for them to have a very fair matchup in this deciding match. Now, you know, obviously, it can get a bit like more complicated than that, but on paper, they do look very, very similar. If you look at the first round of the group stage as well, well, actually, I thought I had it in front of me, but it seems like I don't. So yeah, they just had very, very even results. That doesn't mean we've seen them play against each other an awful lot, so it's really hard to compare them directly. But I'm expecting some close games, some close sets, and maybe something that goes like all the way to the fifth and final set.
I think what we learned from Chernobyl Dribblers is do not give them an inch, they'll just grab you by a mile. We saw that against Module 7, where Module 7 looked, I'll be honest, you know, Module 7 looked like the better team in both the matches. When they were played against Chernobyl Dribblers, I felt like they should not have lost that. They had, I think, 4 match points at that time. And when they played against Unima Gaming, I felt like Unima Gaming, again, you know, Module 7 were stronger, but Unima Gaming managed to come out strong anyway. The problem with Module 7 at the time was every time they had a win of opportunity, they didn't really take it. It's like they were a little bit scared, or maybe they weren't on the same page, you know, on so many occasions. So that's why with Unima Gaming and Chernobyl Dribblers, you know, in this matchup, I can understand why you're not really too sure how it's going to pan out, but you know it's going to be a close series, just due to the fact that statistically, both teams played very similar against Module 7 in the semi-finals and the so I think it's the elimination round 1 as well. So it was very similar. Like, the only thing we can say is that Module 7 were still trying to fight back against Unima Gaming in that elimination match. They couldn't, in all fairness. Module 7 did look like the better team, but still come out on top. So it's going to be quite weird for these two teams, because normally we would have expected Module 7 to be like somewhere in this matchup, but you know, it isn't to be. And I think it's only been I think it was back on Monday or Tuesday. I think it was Monday they actually played against each other. So they've had a few days to review back exactly what each other have been doing against the other teams, and they can probably try and counteract what exactly they want to do and why. So yeah, I'm curious to see exactly how they're going to try and go through all these VODs and all the research they've made and all the preparations, and to see if we see anything wacky come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, I think that both teams are going to have to play at their A game. They're going to have to bring everything they have to go through to the international playoffs. It's going to be a challenge. Let's not kid ourselves. It's going to be a tough match for both teams. And I think that it does set the tone for how hard the international playoffs are going to be for them as well. Because those teams we have right now, they're the teams that, you know, are kind of like sneaking their way through to the international playoffs. You know, there's team you expect to qualify. If you look at like Tribe, SK, Clash, all those teams, even in the second round of the group stage, you know, teams such as Big, Totem, Navi, all those names, you just assume they're gonna make it, right? Whereas here, it's two teams where both of them, we don't really, like, on paper, I would not have, you know, expected either to make it through. But one of them is, so they need a solid performance to show us that they have what it takes to go to those playoffs. But then afterwards, that's where the real journey is going to start, because they are going to need to be extremely well prepared for the playoffs. We are ready to get started. Triple tank for Unima Gaming. Chernobyl Dribblers going for a bit of a more traditional approach with the Gene Barley, as well as the Carl, a new brawler to get back in the meta. It is not a new brawler, but it is definitely new in the meta.
Absolutely, as now we're going to find out what is going to happen at the start of this match. Already Unima Gaming with that level 2 siege bot going straight down south as Null takes down Angel in the process. And Ray's already trying to counteract and take down Null, so that was a good trade from him. Done a little bit of damage here, still done a fair amount, and is still alive, still struggling to try and defend this siege bot. And so far the percentage is huge, already dropped down to 49%, and that's not bad. Oh, actually better than not bad. That's a very good start for the side of Unima Gaming.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's a whole lot of damage, and they still got quite a bit of control. Should be able to at least tie the siege bot up, but from the looks of it, they might even be able to get the next one. Castillo quite low HP. Bubble going through will find a connection on the Ike, getting hit all the way down to 42%, and that's already the third siege bot, or second siege bot, sorry, going the way of Unima. And if they could deal so much damage with like a level 2 or 3 bot in the first siege, this one is surely gonna get closed out, and Unima Gaming, they pick up the first game just like that.
I'm not gonna lie to you, it did feel like the third siege bot just because of how much damage and how long it take for them to defend that first one. And I did think it was going to take all three for them to make something happen, but I like the aggression. I like the fact that they're just using the bot as usual. And we know it's a common strategy. You know, use the bot, let it take the damage, and obviously try and kill it afterwards. But yeah, no, it seemed to be very well played, very well structured. I don't think there was any type of moment in that game where it was kind of like a mess or, you know, too much chaos for Unima Gaming to kind of take control and handle. It seemed to be very, very straightforward. You know, a few kills came into place, a few trades, and, you know, just trying to counteract anything their opponents were doing. And like I said, you know, triple tank, you don't see it quite a lot, but sometimes it's nice to see a bit of a change here and there. And it's very well played from Unima Gaming, and I think they've realised that back in the group stages, the Chernobyl Dribblers, there was a lot more weaknesses when they saw them play against Module 7, and they just want to make sure they play this carefully and take it game by game.
Yeah, that's for sure. The first siege bot this time around is going to go the way of Chernobyl Dribblers. Seems like things are turning around a bit in their favor, at least early on in the second game. They will need it. Ray's, he's going to miss that dive, and that means a missed opportunity to get some of those brawlers out of the picture. Hero is gonna fall, but it's still a 2v1, so in the end, things just keep looking pretty bright here for Chernobyl Dribblers in this game. Castillo has the pull available, so if anyone goes for that bolt, yeah, look at that. Hero is able to just snag those two bolts and will be banking both of them. Good stuff there. Chernobyl Dribblers looking really good in this game. They are gonna get the siege bot. Now, there are a lot of bolts leaking to the sides of Unima, which means that they will have a pretty decent bolt lead for the next one, but now it's a defense, and only Castillo alive for Chernobyl Dribblers. Hero does come back from the dead. We'll see how much they're able to capitalize on this one, but it's not going to be a whole lot of damage. There's not going to be any damage of that siege bot, and now Unima, they have a really good bolt lead. They could actually catch up.
They certainly could indeed. Angel did such a great job. Like, we know it was the entire team playing their part, but Angel just trying to delay that bot as much as he can, just using his stack to his full advantage. After that, though, Castillo has taken down Angel, Reliable taking down Nold, but Nold also took down Reliable, so it's just a pure on trade there, with Hero taking down Ray, and now this is going to be a chance for the Chernobyl Dribblers to try and come back with 5 bolts, but sadly for them, they won't be able to make a full comeback, but they can stop the siege bot from being any stronger than they would like it to be. So will this level 8 siege bot be able to make the difference and take it down past that 61% mark? As already they've done almost half the damage against the bot. 15 seconds left. Ray takes down Hero as they're still traveling downwards. The bot still has a fair amount of health to be able to make something happen here. Surely, yes, they will. Absolutely destroying that turret there down to 21%, and it looks like it will be almost cleaned up. Down to 10%. And that one bot difference. And you saw there as well that Chernobyl Dribblers were only behind by about 2 bolts, but they just couldn't survive long enough to, you know, not only try and overtake them, but they did a good job as well, making sure that that siege bot didn't get any stronger. But it didn't seem like it mattered in the end.
Yeah, that was a much better game from Chernobyl Dribblers. Definitely a close affair, but in the end, Unima were able to just steal it off. And since they already won the first game, well, it's a well-deserved set going their way. Great start into this decider match, and honestly, you know, they played it excellent. I don't know if it is you know, necessarily the best sign for the rest of this match, because they did play only one comp, and it was a very specific comp that you can't really pull off anywhere else but in Siege. So, it could not quite be showing us the tone of this match as much as some other maps would have. But it's definitely a great start getting into the second set with some momentum. It's always the best way to kick things off. My point being just that, since they only played one comp and it's a very map-specific comp, maybe things can, completely turn around later on as we get to some more traditional matchups.
That's right, indeed. I do feel like from the flavour we were given from that first set, I do feel like there's a chance that this series can go back and forth. Again, though, the first game, it wasn't really that unorganised. I felt it was very well structured. I felt like Unima Gaming didn't really lose any kind of momentum shift, map control, anything like that. It was just very well played, very standard. And, when a team actually wins a game like that, that just shows good signs that, this team is definitely prepared to make something happen and try and make a difference. But like I said, Chernobyl Dribblers did make a nice comeback, good preparation and return in terms of the damage and the kills they were getting and their map control, but it was good defense from Unima Gaming as well. We will be going into the second set, which will be on Land Ahoy, it will be Bounty, and I'll be interested to see the compositions on this map, Teddy.
Yeah, honestly, back in the days when I used to play this map, it would be stuff like Mr. P, very dominant. BB would oddly enough be very strong as well. But then for the rest, like something like a Tick and Piper would usually be what you'd see on this map. Now the meta has changed quite a bit since then, so we could see some pretty different stuff. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I feel like Tick is still a very solid choice. Mr. P not quite as much. But Piper would still probably work quite fine. And just because of the way those brawlers are meta here, or at least used to be, Mortis would be quite popular as well, to kind of just sneak in and try to get some kills on those squishier brawlers. So that's kind of what I expect. Thing is, the meta did change quite a bit since then. We had some balance changes literally just like 2 days ago. So that could, be influencing the way this is going to be played out. Now, it was very minor balance changes now, but we've had basically balance changes every single month. So I'm not sure. I feel like I want to be surprised, but also I do like those kind of OG brawlers on this map.
That's the thing, the compositions, the brawlers themselves, the patch has only been out for a couple of days. Of course, things are going to establish themselves better in terms of the meta by next week. I'm sure it will be, because it's not, not huge changes, but enough to make, the slight differences. So it makes perfect sense. So people are still trying to fiddle around here and there with what they want to do, what they want to select, and probably still got to test a lot of things, in scrims leading up to the finals on Wednesday. And you got to remember, that's only 5 days away, so we haven't really got too long. But it's hard to see, a couple of changes, see some of these players try and make a bit of a change, a bit of a difference, trying to throw their opponent off. But this next one is going to be a little bit of a doozy here. I want to see what Chernobyl Dribblers can do to kind of prepare themselves, reset their mindset, and also try and reset the mentality going into this next one, which they have done. They've proven that when they were playing against Module 7 on Monday. So they've had quite a few days to prepare for this. And, I don't think... between these two teams, I thought it was going to be a bit more chaotic, but it looks like they're both prepared for what one another are going to do, and that's, sometimes where the mayhem does get caused, but we haven't seen any of it as of yet. It's still early days. If you're just joining us, this is the first set of the day, the first series of the day, and this is the second set, as whoever's going to be winning this and the next two matches as well, we'll be going through to the international finals. And speaking of the devil, we will be going into set number 2, game number 1, and we're going to find out if Chernobyl Dribblers can try and return the favour which Unima Gaming did to them and try and tie this series up if possible.
Yeah, 1-star lead in favor of Chernobyl Dribblers early on as they picked up the first kill. Blue star was picked up by Unima, but look at that, Ray's going in aggressively. He's going to get punished for that. That's a great kill, but the pinch is coming true. Hero and Castillo are able to get out of that situation, and Unima, they kick things off with a 5-star lead. Good stuff on their end. Movement speed pumped by the red Max. They can't really get up close, and Hero does have another pull available. At this point, pretty much any target would result in a kill. Angel Tense is going to be one of the tougher opponents. Gadget bomb by now. The Angel Dance was the kill. Nice bubble. So much value. Reliable. Able to pick up the kill. And now suddenly Unima Gaming, they're up by 4 stars.
Yeah, looking very good considering the start Chernobyl Dribblers had. Nold has taken down Ray, and now there's only 2 versus 3 in terms of their positioning. But they have regrouped. They managed to wait for the respawner. Reliable now has taken a fair amount of damage. He doesn't need to pull back. But you got to remember though, you know, Unima Gaming are the ones who are waiting for them to make the push and waiting for them to make the mistake. Castillo is on his own on that right side, but you saw Angel and Ray were waiting for him. But it doesn't matter, his hero actually took down Reliable. And look at that, Ray was trying to push him in the mortars, done a fair amount of damage to 2 of the players and doesn't actually get away himself. Reliable was hoping to maybe pick off one of them. Hero is left really weak there. Angel's just looking to also push through as well. Sadly, a wasted opportunity, but still not over as of yet, as it's 10 seconds left remaining, only up by 4 stars. Ray's just going straight in to try and cause as much havoc as possible. Managed to do a little bit of damage, but not enough to make such a huge difference. And Chernobyl Dribblers completely turned that around there. You saw Unima Gaming a not, you know, very unsuccessful push towards the end. Nothing was really done in terms of damage or, you know, got out of control. And a little bit of a surprise there. Chernobyl Dribblers managed to hold that last push very comfortably.
Yeah, so far, it has been quite an interesting match, especially in the sense that Unima has been bringing some very tanky comps every single time. Maybe we will have some change eventually. Maybe this is the game where they decide to, you know, change things up a bit. But I don't know. I'm not the most convinced. I think that the one play from Raze that really killed this game for them, or rather, it was a missed opportunity, is towards the end when he was pushing in a 1 versus 3. He hit the double bats, I think, early on, and then he managed to get another bats off. If he hit 1, 2, or even all 3 of them, he could have gotten the triple kill. But instead, he did miss the bats completely. Didn't hit anyone. That means no regen, no damage. And just basically his death and a missed opportunity. Obviously, I'm not blaming the game on him because he was in a clutch scenario, and you can't be blaming someone for, you know, losing something they're supposed to lose. But it could have been the turnaround that they needed to win that game. Now, you know, Unima, they're still a set ahead. They are behind by 1 game in this one. But they definitely still have room to work with. So I wouldn't be too worried just yet. What worries me more is the fact that they have been sticking to those tankier comps a lot, and I want to see if they have enough versatility to adapt to, you know, all the maps in the map pool.
How dare you not win a 1v3 in a clutch situation with 5 seconds left? How dare you? You know, we expected a lot more from him. No, we didn't, of course. But yeah, I can understand. He whiffed some of his shots. Understandable. In that kind of situation, you've got to be quick and not versatile, but just like quick on the mark. And, you know, when things like that happen, this way your fundamentals come into play. Not your fundamentals, sorry, your mechanics come into play. And yeah, it just didn't happen. It wasn't the first time he missed a few shots. He missed a few others earlier on. So it obviously just replicated more, but hopefully he'll be hitting more of his shots than usual. Hero's already gone straight up for that blue star and has pulled back. So they will have an early lead. Chernobyl Dribblers will be quite happy about that. And they're just on the defense waiting for the next push to happen, as Castillo now with the Piper is trying to do a little bit of damage there. Has noticed the tick on that top middle side. Reliable is just trying to see if they can take him apart in any way. Sadly they haven't, but it's going to take a bit of time here, I feel, Teddy.
Yeah, this is a lot more traditional on the side of Unima. This is very exciting because they've been playing very tanky comps so far, and now they are playing some slightly more meta picks. Mr. P is going to be a bit of the odd one in the bunch. Hero could have an amazing game here on the Mortis if he can get up close and find some value. So far, the blue star was picked up by Chernobyl. No kills just yet, and about a minute left on the clock. So still plenty of time to work with for Unima to find a kill and try to steal that lead. But they have to be so careful, because if Hero is given any space, they can get punished real bad.
They certainly will indeed, but what Chernobyl Dribblers is going to do here, as already they're putting back ever so slightly, and Castillo's still very weak, can't really do anything as of yet with that Piper. And now pull back even further. What are they going to do here? Still time is running out. 30 seconds left here, Teddy. As Reliable still trying to use that tick to try and a little bit of damage before they push him all the way back. And now they've run out of options. How are Unima Gaming going to push up on these players. Castillo's already taken a fair amount of damage in that bottom middle, but on that left lane, Nod is also taking quite a few shots there. But you saw Hero just pushing all the way, and with that Mortis has pulled back as well. 12 seconds left to try and survive this game. Still no kills over the last couple of minutes, but as I said, that Castillo has taken down Angel in the process. Hero's taken down Reliable, and that is going to be it for them possibly if Castillo can try and back away if he can, which he has done. Good way to finish that game off, Teddy.
Yeah, Chernobyl Dribblers back in this match as they pick up set number 2. It's all tied up 1-1 in sets. And this means that we will at least go all the way to set number 4. So far, quite an exciting and close match, just like we expected. We'll see if they're able to keep it up like that for the rest of the series, which team is going to start to struggle a bit more later on. But so far, it's been very back and forth. I do have to say that Bounty did seem a bit more one-sided in favor of Chernobyl Dribblers compared to how Unima Gaming won Siege earlier on. But yeah, it's still a pretty close affair. You can see pretty significant star advantage for Chernobyl. They played this one off really well. So far, when it comes down to some more traditional comps and some regular matchups, I do feel like Chernobyl have been playing just a bit better.
Yeah, that second game was definitely a lot more normal and stable in comparison to what we saw in the first one. Just looking at the stats here, 8 more kills, a huge margin compared to what we saw back in set number 1 on Siege. And look at that though, in terms of the damage count, literally 35,000 more damage, a lot more map presence in comparison. The second game may have not shown it, but the first game definitely did. They were so aggressive and just on par with everything they were trying to counteract with what Unima Gaming were planning. And we did say it could be back and forth, like with Chernobyl Dribblers. You give them an inch, you give them a mile. And now we're going to see how Unima Gaming can try and retaliate what they've seen so far in this series. Pretty surprised, Unima Gaming did seem a lot better in the first set. It did seem a lot more structured and a lot more prepared. But now Chernobyl Dribblers have basically said, no, Teddy, no, we are going to try and come back from this. We are just as prepared as you are, as we are going to go into set number 3. We'll be on Dueling Beetles. A little bit of hot zone here, Teddy, to find out exactly how we can try and separate these two teams.
Are you sure that they specifically said my name? That they said, like, no Teddy?
Maybe. I'm pretty sure.
All right, fair enough. Well, yeah, as you said, Dueling Beetles up next. It was a competitive map until we had a recent map pool change, so teams are quite used to it. Although the meta may have changed just a little bit, we have Max on both sides on the left lane, Gene in the mid for Unima, whereas we have the 8-bit on Hero, and then Jesse and Amber on the right side. Interesting stuff. Hero is going to be quite low HP. The first skill did go the way of Unima. Second one will go the same way, and so far they get a bit of an early lead as they have some good middle positioning.
You're not wrong there. Castillo very aggressive with that push, still keeping a couple of players back of Unima Gaming. As Ray now still on the push on that right side. Managed to do a fair amount of damage on Nord, but not before getting taken down by Hero as Angel takes down Nord himself. Good trade from him as Hero was going to try and back away, but Reliable took down Castillo in the process. So Unima Gaming are the ones back with the map control. Already though, Angel just trying to fire back some damage. Castillo trying to push on the right side. Very, very aggressive, and I like the way he's just trying to force out the first mistake onto these players. And as I say that, Nold did take down Angel, Ray took down Nold and got traded again. Ray took down Hero, and Reliable just barely able to survive on 80 HP. How on earth did he manage to do that? But again, Castillo was also pretty weak in the process.
Yeah, Chernobyl Dribblers need some sort of a retake, otherwise Unima Gaming is gonna run away with this win. Angel Tense taking a bit of damage, Reliable low as well, but it is Castillo to fall first. 5% more, and nothing that Chernobyl Dribblers can do at this point. Unima Gaming taking the lead once more. A bit of a struggly set in Bounty does get made up for here in a hot zone as they do kick things off with the lead. So far, so good for Unima. Once again, it was a pretty close affair, despite the percentages showing otherwise. I do feel like there were very even stats, all things considered, very even amounts of kills. But the difference for me was that in those fights, a lot of those trades were happening while Unima was in control, which meant that they were banking percentages. And sure, it may have been a one-on-one trade, but they were the ones capturing the objective. They still had a player in the zone pretty much constantly, and that meant that turnable dribblers, they were just never really able to catch up.
Exactly what you said. Better execution overall. The only thing I could point out is the fact that I feel like they relied on Castillo a lot to push on that right lane to inflict extra damage just so that they could push on through into that choke point into the zone. We didn't really see enough of it because Castillo couldn't really do enough. He was getting out damaged twice on like multiple occasions on that right lane, and they were running out of ideas. I feel like they kind of panicked in some of those situations when they tried to plan some kind of strategic push. But yeah, sadly for them, it's not going to happen. Unima Gaming again looked much better. At the start, it was a little bit shaky here and there, not going to lie, but Chernobyl Dribblers now have to decide exactly what they're going to do to try and retaliate once again and see what kind of response they can show. But we've seen it once before. I do feel like Chernobyl Dribblers seem to be one of those teams now where they rely on certain modes, maybe on certain maps, but modes especially, they definitely have a lot of strengths and a lot of weaknesses on some of the others. But it might just be a momentum swing. It could be a number of reasons, a number of different scenarios as well. But I look forward to see if Unima Gaming can at least try and take this third set and then make the series 2-1, or maybe if Chernobyl Dribblers can at least try and tie this up.
Yeah, I definitely think they can, but they will have to change things around a bit. I think that the 8-bit was struggling a bit around the center area. Honestly, all matchups weren't working out all that great. I feel like they could have done better with that comp. I don't feel like they had a big comp disadvantage by any means. I feel like their comp may have even been slightly superior as for some aspects. But yeah, I feel like the 8-bit is probably the first one to get switched out. Or 8-bit right now did get nerfed quite a bit. He has a lot less movement speed with his star power. So when he's under his turret, and yeah, here we go. That's going to be the Gene instead on hero, and we have a Barley coming in on now 22. And now Barley does get countered a bit by Gene. But even then, I feel like it's a pretty decent matchup this time around for Chernobyl Dribblers.
See if any changes can be made on the side of Chernobyl Dribblers to tie this set up if possible. Already, Unima Gaming taking so much damage. Angel trying to dodge all these shots on that right lane. Finally gets taken down by Nord, and now they do have the numbers, and especially after that kill from Hero taking down Reliable. As the pull comes in, Rate it's taken down as well. A complete team wipe. Unima Gaming will have to regroup if necessary. Noel just looking to see if he can get a few pop shots off with that Barley in order to do extra damage or try and inflict some kind of damage before they push on through. But look at this though, you can see that Chernobyl Dribblers literally gave away full map control. They had to back away straight away, and Angel manages to survive on only 103 HP.
Yeah, Nald taking quite a bit of damage right now as well. Is gonna try to get some shots on those choke points. One kill in favor of Chernobyl Dribblers. It ends up being a one-on-one. Now 22 wants to bank as many percentages as he can, but he's gonna get pushed up. Does have enough space now to work with as his teammates get back. Angel Tense is gonna miss his pool. It is a 3-on-2, but look at the HP. It's so low for Unima. They lose Angel Tense on the right-hand side. Now trying to get some shots down to get them out of the zone. Raze is gonna be the next one to fall. And this is looking better for Chernobyl Dribblers. Still the lead for Unima. But in a 3-on-1 scenario, they will be banking some more percentages. Good knockback from Angel Tense. Not going to be quite enough. And so far, once again, a very close game here.
Castillo's playing much better this game compared to the last one. He's been a lot more versatile. He's been a lot more coordinated with his team in terms of his communication, how much to try and push up. But as I say, that Ray does take down Nold as well. Hero on 150 HP was trying to survive, but now they have to try and regroup again. And they haven't got the numbers here, Teddy. It's now gone up to 80%, and Nold and Castillo just trying to see what they can inflict before pushing in. Hero rejoins the fray, and now it's on 93%, and now the push does come in. Managed to take down every single player from Unima Gaming, but what is going to be the next push from Unima Gaming? How are they going to try and counteract this? As both players, Reliable and Angel, are going to push from the right side. Ray comes from the left side, and they manage to sandwich all three of them into that zone. And look at that, 100 to 94%. Good way and good response there from Unima Gaming.
Oh my, that was a close one, but the early lead from Unima did manage to be enough to just put them a couple of percentages off towards the end. So they just had to get into that zone for about 2 or 3 seconds, and that would be enough to take it home. So what a close game. Unima definitely showing up strong in this one. I was a bit concerned after Bounty that with some more regular comps, they would be struggling a lot more just because they seem to really be enjoying those tanks, but you can't just play them anywhere either. This does solve that for me. It does show that they are able to play some more traditional stuff and, you know, just get the job done just fine. It was a close one, definitely less comfortable than some sets like Siege, but in the end they do take the victory, and that's what matters. Look at that, the stats are so even, like they're literally so even. The big difference is the percentage time where Unima Gaming were just able to get a lot of those fights while they were in control of the zone, so they were securing the objectives. And sure, it was so often a one-on-one or two-on-two trade, but since they are capturing the objective, well, they are the ones moving forward and getting those wins. 2-1 now in sets. Unima only need one more. Do you think this next one is going to be it?
I don't know, because after that second set, it's very hard to predict as we are going on to fast fork for a Brawl Ball. And you're right, though. I just feel like Unima Gaming right now have just better objective execution. That was a good example. The fact that all the stats were even in terms of map presence, damage dealt, kills, the lot. But the objective is still there. Like, for example, look at the response they made as soon as they came off on spawn when Chernobyl Dribblers literally had full map control and got that team wipe. They weren't ready for it. They knew that their fast push was going to come, but I don't think they expected them to push that fast and that strategically. I know it was only, you know, simple maths where one person went to the left, two went to the right, but it was the matter of how fast and the timing of it as well. It wasn't like the fact that one of them went a few seconds early or anything like that. It was in perfect sync. It was in good synergy as well. And you can tell there was no pressure. They didn't panic at all. They obviously discussed that on the respawn and just went straight in, and they managed to execute it so well. So, you know, that's signs of a very good team there. And with Unima Gaming, we'd be surprised if it did take this set. But again, we have seen some really weird things from Chernobyl Dribblers. When we're going to see if we find out if they can take this to a set number 5, or if Unima Gaming are going to end this one.
Yeah, Unima was the aggressive start so far. Castillo gonna pop movement speed. Good tags overall for Chernobyl Dribblers, but now this low HP, that could be an opening. Castillo low HP as well. Things are lining up here. Good for Unima. Hero is able to catch the ball, but just barely. Reliable is gonna fold the pull from Ray's follow-up kill as well. Castillo is so low HP. Is this gonna be enough to score? They could have Angel 10s. Oh my, they made it a bit more complicated than they had to. But Unima do manage to pick up the goal, and now things are looking to look more and more scary for Chernobyl Dribblers. Pushing from Reliable, immediately gonna get pulled by Hero.
Not one there at all already. The second one could come in depending on the circumstance of how Hero's going to push this. Not going to happen though. That was very clean from Unima Gaming. Probably one of the cleanest games we've seen apart from back in set 1, and definitely not what we expected here, Teddy.
Yeah, no, this was a very different story. Very dominant Unima Gaming in Brawl Ball on Fast Fork. We'll see if they can keep it up like that. But what's important to remember is it's match point right now. They only need one more game to take this one home and to move on to the international playoffs. Join all those big names like Tribe, like SK, like Clash, Totem, and so on. So yeah, they're only one game away, guys. Only one game away, and it is one of those teams that we didn't necessarily expect to go all the way through, and now they can pretty much smell the taste of those playoffs. We'll see if Chernobyl Dribblers are able to keep fighting, because they will need one hell of a fight if they want to stay in this match.
Oh, don't you worry, Teddy. These guys are definitely rubbing their hands thinking, but literally, and it's going to take one more game. I hope it's not like what Module 7 did before, when go through 4, you know, match points or anything like that, because that's the last thing we want to see here, because we've seen it before, we don't want to see it again. But with Unima Gaming, they seem way too strong in this matchup, not just matchup overall, but just in this game mode, full stop. It's definitely a dominating performance, but Chernobyl Dribblers, we've seen them actually retaliate with a much better response in the past, especially back at stage 1. And if you guys are just joining us, welcome. This is the Gamestars League for Brawl Stars. These 3 matches coming up. This is actually the first series of the day, and we've already got 13 qualified teams. Still, we need 3 more to send into the international finals, which starts next Wednesday, leading up to the finals on Sunday as well. We're just trying to find these next 3 teams which are going to be qualified throughout the evening. And so far, like I said, this is the first series of the day, and so far Chernobyl Dribblers are down 2-1 in sets in the series, and they're down 1-0 in this fourth and potentially final set as well, Telly.
Yeah, it's been quite an intense match so far. It could be coming to a quick end if Unimac can close it out with his next game. They do have 2 match points to work with, so they are in an excellent situation right now. Chernobyl Dribblers gonna be pressured, gonna have to act up and answer to all that aggressivity on the side of Unima earlier on. We'll see how they can deal with that. It did seem like their comp was all right from Chernobyl. I mean, I do feel like Crow is going to be struggling against the Carl because he can basically like 2-shot him, or at least get him very, very low HP if he hits 2 full shots. So that's a pretty good matchup for Unima. I think they might be looking to switch off that Crow, maybe just match the Carl. That's you know, always a decent solution. But yeah, I'm not so sure why they went for the Crow when they should have been aware that a Carl could have come at play from Unima, especially since Carl has become a really strong brawler right now and competitive. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think that Unima just played really well, won their fights on their respective lanes, and they were able to help out the other lanes that still needed to close out some fights. I feel like this is looking really good for Unima.
It is looking pretty good. You know, they look much better than they did back in stage 1, which is understandable. You know, it has been a couple of weeks, so they've had a little bit of time to rectify any mistakes, you know, or if there's a shopping list of mistakes which they had to try and correct. But, you know, I know a few teams have had more than a shopping list, let's be honest here. But, you know, like I said about Carl, you know, his projectile speed has increased a fair bit, so it's understandable why we've seen him in a lot more comps. Still, the meta needs to be established, as it's only been a couple of days since the patch was released. So look forward to see what more changes we see to the meta in terms of the comps anyway. But, you know, going back into this game, we're going to see exactly what's going to happen. It is match point for the side of Unima Gaming, and we're going to see how Chernobyl Dribblers somehow, some way can respond to this.
Yeah, it seems like they will just go for the mirror matchup, but Unima did switch off. What was it earlier? Did they have a Jean as well? I think they did, right? And they switched it out for Jesse. No, actually, they already had the Jesse, so it's just pretty much a mirror matchup except for Jesse and Jean. The push coming through, it's not quite going to be a goal. Successful defense this time around for Unima. They needed that really, really badly. If that goal went in, that would have been a terrible situation for Chernobyl Dribblers. They're not out of their misery just yet, but they got a bit more control to work with. Let's see if they can find any openings to maybe get some more control.
That's right, both teams still looking to control that centre half of the map though, but Ray makes the first push, and as I say, that Reliable has taken down Hero in the process, but doesn't really matter too much as Nold has kicked that ball back into the centre just to delay the push a little bit further. He's looking to see if he can take him down, which he has done. Ray was taken down during the centre, and looks like Castillo will also get taken down as well as the turret in the middle. So now this is the push they desperately needed. This is the comeback that Chernobyl Dribblers need to do, but one more team wipe is required in order for them to make something happen. Reliable just having absolutely none of it, Teddy, as he starts spinning straight in, managed to get a kill, and Ray managed to take down Nold. So this is them to kind of return the favour here.
Yeah, I love how both teams are waiting to have enough supers to go for some openings and just sync up the pools together to try to get a 2-man advantage. Good kill from Reliable. Hero does pick up the kill, but look at this. The HP pool is so low. The kill and the shot, that's gonna be Unima was the goal, and only 40 seconds left for Chernobyl to make something happen. Otherwise, Unima are gonna run away with this one, and Chernobyl will have to go home empty-handed after this first season. Raised with the pull as soon as he gets it. Castillo quite low HP as well. This is gonna be it. Yup, Unima Gaming picking up the victory against Chernobyl Dribblers and securing their spot in the international playoffs of this first season of Gamestars. Great performance on their end. It was very back-to-back and back and forth early on in this match, but starting after the second set, it started getting more and more one-sided, and Unima were the team to really get warmed up, whereas Chernobyl, they just kind of struggled to catch up.
I'm not going to lie to you, Teddy. That first goal was the first kill to that goal as well. Literally, the timing was just ridiculous to say the least. But yet, Urano Unima Gaming have qualified. They are the 14th team going into the international finals. Sadly for Chernobyl Dribblers, commiserations to them. They are out of the competition, and we still have 2 more matches left to go here this evening. But Unima Gaming, they definitely deserve that more than anything. They showed a lot of progress over the last couple of weeks, and you can see there in terms of stats. Stats don't lie here, Teddy, as they had 7 more kills, 34,000 more damage. Very, very well done from Unima Gaming. Definitely show what they're worth, and yeah, excited to see how they do next week.
Yeah, indeed. Unima going to the international playoffs. This does mean that we will be saying goodbye to Chernobyl Dribblers. They were a great team to watch in this, in this first season of Gamestars. They had some great performances here and there, but are gonna be going home now. Thank you for taking a part in this Group A. Unima Gaming and Noble Leads Croco, the 2 teams in Group A, to move on to the playoffs. So yeah, huge congratulations to them. With that being said, here are some highlights of this match if you're just catching up now.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Gamestars League for Brawl Stars. I'm Lethal, joined with me is the analytical mastermind, which is Teddy, as always holding my hand throughout the entire process of this event. We've already had 1 match, we've still got 2 more matches left to go here, Teddy, as the next one is going to be your Cheer Clan versus Kozaki, and this should be an absolute slobber knocker.
Yeah, this is going to be quite a juicy match. Kozaki, a team that showed us some excellent stuff in the past, taking a set against teams like AC Milan Clash, getting some great wins as well previously. Now they're facing Uchiha Clan. This is going to be quite a challenge ahead of them. As you can see, this is the bracket for this group here. Group B of the second round of the group stage. They won quite easily against Fight Club. They did lose against Big Clan, but yeah, nevertheless, a team that has shown us some really excellent stuff. I think it is one of those teams that may not be the most consistent because, from getting some very impressive wins here and there and then getting swept by Big Clan, there is a big contrast. But on the other side, you have Uchiha Clan, the best Polish team, the most well-known Polish team as well, Rama, Engie, and Oliver on the right-hand side. It's a team that is hungry for those playoffs, and it is going to give Kozaki definitely a run for their money in this matchup.
Yeah, just looking at some of the popular brawlers here, a few consistency here and there with some of the players, but actually you can see players loves his Barley, loves his Sandy, of course, and you've got Rame loves his Jean and Engie for Max. But apart from that, most of it is quite consistent across the board. And just going back to what you were saying, you're right though, for Big, they took down Kozaki and Uchiha Clan. Big, of course, not a walkover in the slightest. And Big have, honestly, congrats to them just in general, because over the last couple of weeks they've made some incredible improvements, and so have Na'Vi in terms of their recent form. But looking at the head-to-head between U40 and Rama, you can see there, in terms of kills, you've got an extra 25 kills plus for U40, and on the side of Rama, you've got an extra 18 plus 18 overall. Very similar in terms of stats, star player, damage, you name it, they've done it. They're very similar in terms of everything you want to speak about them, very similar roles. And how are they going to do it against each other? It's going to be another story here, Teddy.
Yeah, definitely a tough matchup for both teams. I would say on paper, Uchiha are the slight favorites just because they are Uchiha. But on the other hand, if you just look purely at the results of the Gamestars group stage, Kozaki, they, in my opinion, may have played a bit better so far. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them pick up this one either. I think it could absolutely go either way, just for the sake of consistency and for the bigger picture. I'm going to say that Uchiha Clan are some very slight favorites, but the bans have gone through. Let's give them a quick look. And I said bans plural, but it seems like it's ban singular, as Bell is going to be banned by both teams.
It's funny, quite funny as well, just, after the patch notes, everything, we mentioned it before with Bell, that, the in terms of range of attack, it's very similar to Piper and Brock, etc. But now, even then, they're still not too sure what to ban. Like, they're just sticking with pretty much the standard bans for the Bells, just in case, there's something they're not really too sure about. But it's like you said before, Teddy, very versatile, with what you can use with Bells. So I think they're just doing it for that reason and for that reason only. But going into maps and modes, we are going to start with Dueling Beetles, Factory Rush, Snake Shop, Monterey, and last but certainly not means least, it is going to be Quick Skip as the final set if it does go that far. But between these two teams, it wouldn't surprise me if it went all the way. We haven't really seen too many 5 sets over the last few weeks, but I think between these two, it wouldn't be too much of a surprise. Just statistically looking back at stage 1 and their group and stage 2 as well, they've been very, very even. It's just more Kozaki's put up a little bit of a better fight against Fight Club 2 back in stage 2 groups. But for Unima Gaming, Uchiha Clan, it just depends on the circumstances of how they're feeling on the day. So it's whether wants it more between these two and just basically how well they've been able to counter each other, especially going back through their VODs and doing as much prep and research as possible.
Yeah, we are ready to get into the action. Look at that, Kozaki, they're going for the Dynamite. Sam is just Dyna jumping around, and as soon as he lands, gets melted down by Engie. Oliver was to kill an X. What is going on here for Kozaki? What is that comp? And when did I think that would be working? Sam seems to be very upset. And yeah, I would say that you don't want an upset Dynamite on your enemy side, but so far he hasn't really been hitting any shots, and Dynamite did get buffed a little bit. He runs about, like, I think 9% faster, something like that, which is pretty significant. Yeah, if you don't hit any shots, it's not really going to matter all that much, as it Uchiha Clan so far was full on control. and a bit of an easy time. I'm just super confused, to be completely honest with you. I don't know why they would bring in the Dynamite here. It's not working out whatsoever. He's just Dyna jumping around. He's not even trying.
You are right to be confused, Teddy. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit confused as well. I'll be honest, not really much to digest there analytically. You know, basically you saw there on the side of Kozaki, nothing much. You know, they got full map control. They kept him back in terms of distance, good shots, good control overall. Don't really see any pushes which were, you know, in terms of like the strategic aggression, not really seem too much to talk about, really. It's very hard to say because maybe they made a mistake in terms of picks. I'm not really too sure. That was a little bit strange, especially on that map, but I had to find out what's going on. You kind of feel like they gave up before the game even started. Like you said with the emojis in it, you kind of could tell that something wasn't right there, Teddy. Something was a little bit off.
Yeah, it was definitely something was going on here. I'm not so sure, but the Dynamite was not working out, and I don't want to like say that he single-handedly lost the game for his team, but he was definitely from far the least useful one in the team, and they got absolutely destroyed. So yeah, I'm not so sure. We were talking about how good Kozaki had been playing in the league so far. So far here in this first game, I don't have anything to say about them. It was just, yeah, not good whatsoever. Dynamite not finding any value. I've been seeing it a bit more in competitive now that it's been buffed. So Dynamite might be getting into the meta. I don't really think so. But you never know, especially early on, right after the balance changes for the first couple of days. Teams are adapting, are trying things out. This could be that, but it did seem like a very far from ideal result for that experiment, because Dynamite, yeah, not exactly working out that great so far.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm not going to repeat what you said. I'm just going to agree and echo, like, you know, further on, because it was a bit strange. That's why I kept saying earlier, but it felt like they gave up before it even like started, because even with that kind of brawl, it's quite hard to kind of counteract some of the things they actually try to do, and it's very hard to control that aggression as well. And you saw that on numerous different occasions. So it was a slight, you know, a bit weird here and there. We'll see. Let's be honest, it's going to be a comp change. If it isn't, then, you know, maybe they have something up their sleeve. I have no idea. It could be, you know, numerous different situations or scenarios which we can even talk about here. But we'll go into the next game very shortly, and then we'll find out exactly what's going on. If you're just joining us, welcome. We've got 3 matches today. We've just had the first match. This is going to be the second series of the day, and this is set number 1 between Yuchia Clan and Kozaki to determine exactly who's going to be the 15th team to qualify for the international finals, which occurs next Wednesday to Sunday. And we have the 16th and final team, which will be hopefully sending them to the international finals as well. And sadly, the losing teams will be sent home. You know what I mean, anyway. But yeah, going into this, like, it's still hard for us to say what changes to be made. It's just basically comp and that's it, because like I mentioned earlier, not enough to digest, not enough to talk about, and not really enough to say exactly what went wrong from there.
Yeah, it's really hard to say in the sense that it wasn't like, you know, some small things that we could point out, like, oh, this wasn't exactly working out, or this could have been slightly adjusted to work out better. This was like a 95% difference in percentages. Kozaki, they basically stepped into the mid zone and then never went back again. So I think the Dynamite has to go. I'm not sure what is up next for them, but they need some sort of a big adjustment. And hopefully they can start playing a bit more seriously, because it didn't feel like it. You know, I think that Dynamite is a brawler that you can pull off in competitive right now. It is really hard and it's very unlikely, but the buff does help making him a bit stronger. Fact is, not only was it still a bit of a troll pick, he actually didn't play it seriously either. He was just Dyna jumping around the map and not really doing anything, you know, to win that game. So that's where I start getting worried. Not even just a Dynamite pick. I feel like going for a bit of an off-meta brawler, especially when it just got buffed. I think it's a great way to try to innovate and be fresh and catch your opponents off guard. Fact is, if you don't play it seriously, then obviously it's not going to be working out great.
Yep, you know, you're not wrong, Teddy. Not going to lie to you in the slightest. We're still waiting for the players at the moment. Just been a little bit slow at the moment. So, you know, patience is a virtue. We will get the second game in set number 1 underway, and it shouldn't really take too long. So hopefully we'll see the next game very shortly. And it's like I said before, very hard to, take into account what changes need to be made in order, from that first game, because only a minute passed. If anyone can, then, it's clearly just the comps. But, we could be wrong. We'll have to find out when we find out in this next game. But, your cheer clan are going to be happy with that start. Kazaki, it is just typical, isn't it, Teddy? You mentioned how great they are, and then they do that in the first game. It's just ridiculous. It's a shame. But I'm sure your prediction will probably be correct anyway, as they will change to see what's going to be happening here, Teddy.
Okay, now he's going for Leon. Okay. I'm getting scared by Kozaki, guys. I am getting scared. We'll see how that plays out. So far, a bit better. He's going to pick up the kill on Rama. Leon, not really in the meta right now, but, the meta is very varied and rich at the moment, which does mean that you can play a lot of different stuff. And this is going much smoother for Kozaki already early on. And I think the big difference, it's not just the Dynamite or the Leon, it's that Sam is playing serious this time around. And it's paying off. They're already 50% up in this game. Have a really solid lead as well. And sure, they are going to get team wiped right about now, but Kozaki just have such a solid head start. And look at that, the jump in as well. X was a kill. It is a 2-on-2 in the center. And it seems like they will be able to heal up a bit. Rama does have the pull as well, which could be very impactful.
NG and Ollie managed to get a kill there for themselves. X took down Ollie in the process. Good trade from him, but still has to wait for the rest of his team to regroup and then push on forward. Already caught up here, now 61 to 63%, as both teams are just absolutely going at each other here, Teddy. It is now X managed to clean up one, looking to try and pick up Rama if he can, and NG's the last person left standing. Has managed to take him down. Now they've taken the lead, got full map control, but how are the side of your cheer clan going to respond? Oh no, they even lost one of the players right at the very beginning of that engagement. It's going to be the numbers game. It's going to be 2v3, and already Ollie's trying to push in all the way forward to try and make a difference. Sadly, he does not, and Kazaki are those ones who actually respond massively in comparison to that first game. It looks like your prediction could be correct here, Teddy. Wouldn't worry about it, mate.
Yeah, well, they played it and approached it a bit more serious this time around, despite going for Leon, which is still considered as a bit of a troll pick. Leon is getting a lot better in the meta, and yeah, Kazaki showed us absolutely why. Great damage, even at a certain distance. Obviously, it's going to be shining up close, but even at a mid-longer distance, you can still get some pretty decent tags off, and that's one of the reasons why Leon has so much value. Obviously, super, getting invisible, that's just so insane when you think about it. And the star power to heal up, just great option as well to just have a bit more sustain around that center area, make sure that you constantly have control and approach those fights full HP. That was much better from Kozaki. I would say that on paper the come from Uchiha was better, so I'm not entirely sure what went wrong. Maybe they underestimated Kozaki coming into the second game, just because they had such a convincing win in game one, that we still had a bit of an interesting Leon pick coming into this one. So maybe they thought, oh, they're trolling again. And yeah, they definitely got punished for that, because Kozaki picked up the game. And it's not like we're talking about two teams that, or Uchiha clan that is a bad team or anything like that, because they are definitely not. They are one of the best teams in Europe, around the top 16 probably, and the best team in Poland. So it is definitely a challenging team. And Kozaki, they kind of made it look easy despite playing with Leon.
Yeah, it was very strange. It's the first time we've seen a Leon in the past few weeks, like since it's even begun. It's the first time we've seen him at all. And yeah, I was a little bit confused again, but the Dynamite was obviously a massive difference. And yeah, a little bit weird, but it just proves that even though the comp wasn't the best in comparison to their opponents, it shows that mechanically they were much better overall. The only thing we can probably mention is right at the end, I can't remember which player it was on the side of your cheer clan, where he was pushing up towards the mid but staying on their side, tried to do a little bit of damage and pull back. He did get taken down. I'm not sure if he took that death on purpose so he can push with respawn immunity straight after, so I'm not really too sure, but it seemed a little bit too late for that. So I think it was just a little bit of a mistake on his part. Just overextended ever so slightly, or just didn't expect to have all 3 players trying to focus on that choke point. It could be a number of different scenarios there. So we'll have to see what they'll do in this next matchup and just work on their coordination just a little bit when they're in those kind of circumstances. But it seems like on the other side with Kozaki, they regroup really well. They seem to be a lot better in terms of what they want to do in terms of plans. And it's just the improvisation overall here, Tilly.
Yeah, I completely agree. Little, I have some extra information, some inside information regarding what has been going on for Kozaki. Apparently, they seem to be having some internal beef and seem to be pretty pissed at each other for some reason. I'm not entirely sure what is going on exactly, but I think that they are quite mad at each other, and that's why they've been acting a bit weird, and why Sam has been picking some weird brawlers so far. This is going to be as normal as their comp can get, and yet it is not their most solid start, as Uchiha has full on control. U4O is left alone, low HP, and things are kicking things off pretty great for Uchiha.
I love this game, man. You can't really predict what's going to go on in and outside the game, but we're going to go back inside the game anyway, as Sem has taken down 2 of the members of Uchiha clan, and Ollie is the left one left standing on that right side on half HP. So now they have regrouped. Ollie's looking to push from the right side again, which he has done. Good kill there on Sem, and still looking for more. X took down Ollie, so he did get traded off by NG straight after, and it's U4O versus Rama in that 1v1 for the mid control, and U4O wins that quite cleanly here. And I'm still a little bit, confused about the internal struggles these players are having, but I can understand for the comp picks, but still they're still gelling pretty well considering the circumstances they have to deal with here.
Yeah, nice comeback from Kozaki into this game. The crow jump in from X. He is going to fall, but he does create a lot of space for Kozaki to work with, widen up that lead furthermore, and hit that 80% threshold. 20 more percent, and they pick up the set. Uchiha clan need to catch up. NG gets into U4O's face, takes him out. Great stuff from Uchiha to get that nice retake successfully done, but they still got some catching up to do. And Kozaki, if they just get 1 or 2 kills, they could find the control to close out this game and set.
87% to 64 now, as both teams are trying to fight for that map control, and it's looking very good for Kozaki here as Sen takes down 1, and still doesn't matter. It's way too late here. Had to pull all the way back, didn't have time to regroup again. I'm just still a bit confused here, Teddy, how the fact that they're having internal struggles between each other, but yet they're still taking the set. Like, it's absolute madness. Yeah. The fact that they know they can win this, and yet they're having these struggles at the same time, it's like a soap opera at the moment, mate.
Yeah, I'm so confused. What I think is the most hilarious is, so basically what I'm being told, and it is people that are like, very, very close to this match right now. I'm being told that apparently they played some Power League before, and Kozaki lost their game, but it's just like, it's just Power League. This is a tournament with like 30k prize pool on the line. And apparently they're pissed about the Power League game, so they're like beefing and blaming the loss on each other, or something along those lines. Definitely one of the weirdest things I've seen in a while, that's for sure, because, I get that sometimes you can be frustrated about Power League. That makes sense, especially, some of those guys, they're grinding it for like hours a day, but to have that impact your performance in a 30k prize pool event, I don't know, that seems a bit odd to me, but maybe it also shows one of the reasons why they are so good, because like, I don't want to say they don't take the game seriously, but they don't seem to be like too pressured about anything. They seem very like careless and very cool, like actually pretty ice cold about that kind of stuff. So I don't know, definitely a bit of an interesting story, but we love those stories.
Yeah, we do. Let me quickly go through the stats before I say what I'm going to say. So the set result, you can see that Uchiha clan did have 3 more kills, had 30,000 less damage. Kozaki definitely had a lot more map presence. I think it was just the first game which kind of dictates why they had a few more kills, and I reckon it would have been a lot less than that. I think if they took that seriously from the start, from the get-go in game 1 and set 1, it probably would have been like 21 to 15 or 18 kills or something like that as kind of prediction. But yeah, just going back to what we were talking about, yeah, that is quite funny, taking matchmaking a bit more seriously rather than this actual tournament itself. I'm not going to get involved though, Teddy, because that is a little bit funny, I'm not going to lie. But we are going to go into set number 2 now. It's going to be Siege, and we're going to see if Kozaki can continue their dominant performance in games 2 and 3 in that last set. As already they've got them mid control, pushing Ollie back as well. And you can see one of the players using the Piper, that's Rama, is now going to see what he can do in order to inflict some damage on that left lane. Good start from him, taking down Sem's Crow. And now level 2 Siege bot for Kozaki is coming out the woodwork, heading north here, Teddy, and we can see how much early damage it can do.
Yeah, so far we have the first Siege bot heading the way of that red Ike. It's not gonna get any damage, and Uchiha Clan, they do kick things off with a 3-ball lead. Now they are gonna lose a player early on into this retake, which means they will have to be a bit more careful with their approach here. NG pushing up, gonna get taken out. It's a one-on-one trade. Sam looking for some more shots there onto Oliver. He is quite low HP, does get taken out, but once again there is a trade. Still a 2-on-1 in favor of Uchiha. They're able to get a couple more bolts. I really like Oliver on the left side. I don't know if you picked it up, but he waited for the siege to end so he could pick up the bolt a bit later and bank it for the next one instead of just getting an extra bolt here. It just very impactful in the end. It's such a small move that you have to keep in mind because you want to make sure you get that final siege bot. It's the most important one. And having that extra bolt is just going to be so much more valuable than if he got it in that second siege.
I did see that, Teddy. Luckily, my awareness isn't too bad from what we've seen so far. As Kozaki now 5 bolts to 3, looking for that last siege bot. They've only taken 9% damage, so they should be okay here, as long as they keep the map control and play solid as possible. NG just trying to hover around that left lane to see if he can continue collecting his bolts, was keeping U4O at bay. And U4O's been playing really well. He's been very versatile with his movement and just keeping everyone back. And he's been a right nuisance to Rama's Piper as well. But the siege bot does come in. It is in favor of Uchiha Clan. And we're going to see what they can do here, pushing on forward. Sorry, Kozaki, as I wrongly mentioned. But they're going to push through. Anyway, they need to do at least 9% in order to cut this through. Shouldn't be a problem. Uchiha Clan will lose this game. The first game in set number 2. Kozaki looking strong and continue to look strong here, considering their very interesting start of set 1.
Yeah, this is quite an upset so far, to be honest. Like, we knew getting into this match that it could absolutely go either way. There was 2 teams that had a very similar performance throughout this season. That Uchiha on paper are the favorites just because they have a bit more competitive experience, that they have a lot more international results, whereas Kozaki a bit fresher. But Kozaki did play a bit better in the group stage, so we're definitely impressed right now once again that they're pulling off such an impressive performance against Uchiha Clan, picking up not only the first set but also the first game of this second set, and doing that with a lot of style as well, going for some dynamite, some Leon, all that kind of stuff. A lot of shenanigans on their side. We'll see if they like that always. Maybe it was just now because they were like beefing about Power League or whatever that story was about. But we are heading towards the next one. I really like to call onto Rama. We'll see how impactful that can be. I think he already had that in the previous game, but I just feel like it's such a strong brawler at the moment. Can Kozaki just keep that good start? Oh, U4O seems to be having some sort of an issue as he is not moving in the spawn.
Oh, this is not the time for it here. I was going to say Kozaki says of their team, love a bit of banter, but, you know, sometimes they've got to cool off a little bit, especially if, yeah, not really too sure what happened. Maybe he did get disconnected. Maybe his ping was very high. But anyways, he is back into the game no matter what his connectivity issues were. So he has managed to get back into the game, but he has taken a lot of damage just trying to regroup with the rest of the Kozaki team. But the first siege was a tie, so lucky for him, things are going to be okay. But who's going to get that bolt advantage going into the second siege bot. It's both NG and Rama just holding that left side, waiting for one of the players on the side of your cheer clan to push through. That will be Ollie, to see if he can replicate what he was doing earlier with his good right lane control early on. But it doesn't matter though, as Sem is looking to take at least one of his players down, which he takes down. Rama still trying to hold on for dear life here, Teddy. Managed to recover. NG knows that he can't push on through due to the fact that U40 is just waiting in that middle ground to see if he does do any kind of aggressive push. But the siege bot does come in level 10. All three players on your cheer clan trying to do as much as they can. But X has taken down Rama in the process, doing a little bit of damage here, as we're going to see how much more it's going to do leading up to this last siege. It will be 15%, not really much. So as you can see, Kozaki do need this last siege bot to take the set.
Yeah, X is gonna fall, but Sem is able to pick up the trade. Movement speed bombed by U40, and that's a kill on the left-hand side. The big part, though, is that Oliver was uncontested on the right side, and he's been picking up bolts. Now, it is going to be a close affair bolt-wise. Can they tie it up here, Kozaki? I think they can, yeah, 8-8. They might even get the siege bot. No, it's a tie, but 15%, that is going to be a diveable situation. Rama was one shot off, NG falls. We do have the jump in from Oliver. No, he can't find enough. This is going to be Kozaki to pick up this game and set, going the distance 2-0 in sets. Oh my, what a match so far. And man, those dives towards the end is absolute madness. But Kozaki somehow, despite for the first 30 seconds of that game, they were in a 2 versus 3. They had an AFK player. They still managed to catch up. What is going on here?
They tied in bolts whilst he was AFK. That's like, you know, that's not a red flag. That's like something worse than that, to say the least. I couldn't get over it. When I first saw him AFK, I was like, right, okay, clearly your cheer clan are going to get this first siege bot. It just depends on how much more of a bolt deficit it's going to be afterwards. But no, they tied the first siege bot still. That was just ridiculous, to say the least. And now, and also full respect to X there right at the very end. You know, just being very patient, waiting for the jump in on the turret as well, just to try and inflict any more damage. It was a little bit predictable that your cheer clan were going to go for it, but respect to X to actually just waiting for it to happen and just being patient until the very end. So yeah, again, mad respect for him to making sure to try and solidify that set. So here we have it though, Kozaki up 2-0, not what we expected or even predicted in the slightest. And considering, oh my goodness, everything was just happening in the first and second set, you know, connectivity issues, and in the first one, you know, you had the internal problems, and still they're up 2-0. You'd think with the amount of stuff we're talking about in terms of Kozaki, you'd think they're the ones that are down 2 sets to 0, but these are the set result in terms of stats. You can see there 18 kills to 12 in favor of Kozaki, and damage didn't have as much map presence, 14,000 less, but a lot better in terms of their objective execution.
Yeah, and that's for sure. Kozaki getting the right siege bots, the ones that matter, and just more overall. I'm not really sure what's next. I feel like Kozaki, they're just kind of dominating in this match. Like, I'm sorry to say it, like, it hurts me myself, especially from some of the stuff we've seen, to admit it. But they are. Snake Shop is going to be up next. Bit of a controversial gem grab map. I think some people love it, some people absolutely hate it as well. We'll find out how that goes down in a couple of seconds. Kozaki, if they win this set, they're already done. They go to the playoffs and they knock Uchiha clan out of the entire thing. So yeah, this is a bit of a surprise so far. I didn't expect it to go so one-sided, especially not with the kind of stuff we've been seeing on the side of Kozaki. So I don't know, especially, you know, from the eyes of an analyst and a Brawl esports enthusiast, this has been a bit of a nightmare so far. But yeah, it seems like it might not go to an end just yet. We have our next game started. The Surge and the Mortis on the same comp here for Kozaki. That is going to be an interesting process. The dash in picks up the kill onto Rama. U40 with the double. He survives off for a couple more seconds, but does eventually go down. Sem will not be using his super there for falls, and Oliver is able to catch those gems, giving a bit of an early lead right now for Chia.
Yeah, this series has been absolute madness. You know, between set 1 and set 2, literally night and day. And on set 2, it looks like Kozaki were trying to play Brawl Stars 80%. Just absolute madness. As now we're going to see what Kozaki can do here to kind of trying to come back from this. As Uchiha Clan looking pretty good. A good start so far. Going to get flanked from up top though, and a little bit puzzled as to who to focus on first. But they decided to select Sem with the Mortis just to prioritize him to make sure he isn't going to cause any more trouble from that north side. But X does take down NG, so at least they even up the numbers, still causing a few issues in terms of delaying the gem count for Uchiha Clan as NG has rejoined the fray. And look at this, though, Sem with the Mortis just trying to do as much damage as he could, has done a fair amount, but hasn't really taken any member of Uchiha Clan down with him in the process. So X needs to try and stay alive. U4O manages to as well, and X still managed to take down NG with that tick.
Yeah, so far Kozaki have been able to catch up gem-wise, despite Uchiha having the early lead before Oliver takes down Sem. Rama has a pull available. TP in from U4O. He's going to survive that off, but quite low HP. Rama low HP as well. Sem just dashing around the map. They want to get that countdown. They only need one more gem, but Uchiha at 8 could match it no matter what. So this is a bit of an intense situation. Oliver pushing up. Oliver, he's gonna catch X off guard. Good gadget from X. The countdown starting for Uchiha as well. Next gem spawns and it's picked up by Uchiha, which means that now Kozaki, they need a kill. They are gonna lose a player as well. This is looking good for Uchiha Clan. Finally something going their way in this match as they pick up the first game of gem grab.
Yeah, that looked much better. Good start as well from them. Early pressure, everything they needed looked pretty good. Some overextension here and there. I feel like what Sem did earlier on with the Mortis, just getting that north position, just to try and not mess with their heads, but like try and decide whether they should just carry on pushing on forward and prioritizing the 3v2 or just go back in the 2v1. It's quite situational. If there's no small talk involved, then it can get a little bit messy, but they were just like, yeah, let's just turn around and take out his Mortis. Once that's done, then hopefully the 3v2 scenario, no matter what damage we've taken, should be okay. It seems much, much better from then onwards. But then afterwards, Sem did do a lot more damage afterwards. You saw there in the 1v2 up north, he just did a fair amount of damage, at least taking 2 of the players to 3/4 damage, and just sadly for him, couldn't take out either player, and eventually they did recover. But we are going to go into game 2, set number 3, to see if Kozaki can respond in any way. And already Rama's taken a huge amount of damage in the middle half, but Sem has pulled back to regroup with U4O just barely.
Yeah, U4O went down early this time around, though. X is going to win the right lane. Rama in a 1 versus 3. Not all that much he can do at this point. That's going to be a couple of gems heading the way of Kozaki to kick things off with a 6-gem lead. Uchiha, they do have the pull onto Rama. Sem trying to get out of range. They're going to hit the pull onto Rama. Nice stuff. Kill coming through as well. Dash in from X. He's going to find some value. Will be going down. But if you look gem-wise, it's still looking absolutely excellent for Kozaki. Sem taking down Oliver. Another kill coming through here. The trade, actually. Rama falls. NG is going to be next up. And Oliver does find the trade, but it is a 2-on-1. And only 1 gem is what Kozaki needs. Sem was a bit of a miss gadget over there. Look at that. All the gems picked up by Uchiha. And they're going to be stealing that countdown away from Kozaki. Big blunder on the side of Kozaki.
Oh, they're going to be so mad about that. I was going to say some great things, how mechanically gifted some of these players are, Kozaki and how well they've been doing. But that's it. That's going to be pretty much game as Uchiha Clan takes the set. And they were looking so strong for like not even the majority of the game, like 90%. And, you know, props to X as well, holding that right lane like an absolute trooper, just outplaying his opponent, you know, individually in so many different ways and just doing so much excess damage towards the middle as well. And then it just fell apart here, Teddy. It was very strange considering what we saw during the first, like the first 90% of the game. It was just weird.
Yeah, dude, this has been a bit of a crazy match so far. Uchiha, they did manage to clutch up in this set. It's going to be the first set heading their way. Still not exactly what we expected of this match. I do think that Kozaki played better in this last game as well. Just a big blunder towards the end. Sem just dashing the wrong way and getting taken out. Maybe a bit too confident. Not so sure. but that is going to be Uchiha Clan slowly closing the gap in sets. They are still behind by 1. Kozaki still in an excellent situation. They could close it out in no time, but they got to be careful because if they look behind them, they can still see Uchiha Clan right there looking to catch up.
Certainly will indeed. You know, stats don't lie again. 21 to the 13 kills of Uchiha Clan. Excuse me. And now we are going to go into set number 4. Game number 1. See what difference they can make here. Of course, 2 Colettes, 2 Colts, and 2 Vipers here on either side. It will be a mirror matchup. And it's really going to show exactly how good both these teams are mechanically and fundamentally going into this game as well. So already some damage has been taken from Sem. And Sem looking to push that right lane. But U4O just seeing what damage you can do with that Piper. Just trying to keep both Ollie and Rama back on that right side. But NG still looking for a bit of damage with the Colt on the left side as well. But not really too much here. Just both teams just reflecting back and forth against each other. Just to see who can out-damage who. And then try and take one of the players out. Which Rama has taken down Sem. Ollie's looking to push that right side straight away. And to inflict a nice little chunk of damage here with that Colette. And now he's pulling all the way back to try and regain his super.
Yeah, Uchiha was a bit of an advantage early on. Nothing too significant, but an advantage nonetheless. U4 with some great snipes onto Rama. Rama is known as a very good Piper, but U4O, he's shown us some pretty insane stuff today as well. We'll see if he can keep it up with the Piper so far. Hitting a couple of shots, getting the snipe down as well. U4 low HP, but Rama can't close it out. 3% lead in favor of Uchiha. This is, once again, a very close game to start off.
I was going to say the same thing and echo what you mentioned. U4O is looking very good with the Piper with incredible predictive shots there, but Rama just retaliated with the exact same. Sem had to back away and re-heal, which meant that Ollie had the opportunity to push him in that Colette and just inflict even more damage onto the safe. And now this is where the push is going to come in. U4O and Rama actually trade each other out, and now we'll be able to inflict any more damages. NG still looking to see what he can do. Finally gets taken down, but not without doing excess damage to Uchiha Clan's safe. But still, they are up by 23%, but the clock is against them here, as they've only got 25 seconds left. The entire team of Kozaki have got full mid control, but what can they do over here? U4O is taking way too much damage. Sem's looking to push that right side. If he takes out Ollie, that would be absolutely huge. But then again, every single member from Uchiha Clan are weak. This is their time to push, but no, U4O does take down NG in the end. And look at this as well, as Ollie took down one of the other players in the process. Rama took down U4O. And that is going to be game for Uchiha Clan here. Only by 11%, but definitely a margin enough in order to win this first game in the fourth set. So the reverse sweep is definitely on here, Teddy.
Yeah, good stuff from Uchiha Clan. Now, you know, they were behind for a while, but they're only 1 game behind. If they win this next game, or one of the 2 next games in this set, we're going to set 5 and we're going all the way in this match. This would be quite insane. They are capable of it, I'm sure of that. The question is, how is Kozaki gonna adapt? We had a mirror matchup, if I remember correctly, so it's not really like they were you know, disadvantaged comp-wise. It was a really close game, to be fair. 1 or 2 shots going differently could have been enough to have an opening at some point for Kozaki to catch up damage-wise and maybe even take the lead. Early homemade recipe, I think that was from Rama. Not gonna find a connection. I'm gonna pop another one there, but can't find Sem either. Good snipes from U4O. Rama with the gadget not gonna connect. Did Rama already use all his 3 gadgets? I mean, he surely has maximum only 1 left. That is very early on, but I guess that, you know, if you can put them to good use, it doesn't really matter if you use them early on. Good snipe from Rama, takes down Sem, although we're taking a lot of damage as well. Both Colettes do have their super available, but so far none of the teams able to find any damage on safe.
That's right, and what I find quite weird is, you know, during this first minute, Uchiha Clan have been heavily out-damaging Kozaki. Now, I was talking about how great the mechanics have been for the side of Kozaki, but it looks like the momentum has shifted in Uchiha Clan's favour. But as I say, that U4O has taken down Rama's Piper. So now, U4O again with the 2nd kill, and will we be able to take down Ollie as well? Yes, he can. X managed to clean him up, but no safe damage again here, Teddy. But Rama manages to retaliate and say, yeah, U4O, you managed to take me down, I'm going to take you with me straight. Afterwards, took down X in the process, pulls all the way back to recover, and and Ollie was looking to see if he can inflict any more damage from that right lane. But Sem has taken down NG. It's just back and forth here, Teddy. Just not really much objective damage done. But as I say that, Sem has to do a little bit onto Yuchia Clan safe, and there's only a 5% deficit between the two.
Yeah, this is once again a close affair. But Uchiha have a slight lead. U4 is able to dodge that snipe once more. X with the super. Oliver makes it out alive. That could be a big difference as Uchiha are widening up that lead a bit further. And X does come back to the fight. 30 seconds left. Kozaki need to find something here, or it is gonna go down to our 5th and final set as Uchiha still have the lead. Good snipe from U4. This could be the opening. This could be the opening for Kozaki to get to match point. They're gonna get a bit of damage, nothing too much just yet. X with the super. Oh my god, the lead for Uchiha still though. 5 seconds left. U4 always some great snipes. It's not gonna be enough though. And Uchiha Clan, they take the win in this set. This means that we're going to set number 5, Lethal.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. We wrote them off like literally after set 2. It's like, yeah, Kozaki mechanically just looked way too good individually in so many different ways. And yeah, momentum completely shifted in the favor of Yuchia Clan. You always did say before that even though you favor more Kozaki, Yuchia Clan are a very, very good team and very solid. And finally, you know, welcome to the series, Yuchia Clan. They've actually tied this series up 2-all. We were wondering where they were and if they were on the server, but now they finally responded in a huge way here. So Yuchia Clan looking much better, much more composed, a lot more structured, and actually out damaging, and in like I said, in more ways than one. So it's good to see. We were a little bit worried. We thought this could be a clean sweep and Kozaki could just run all over them going into set 3. And of course, you know, Kozaki, the lads there, are not going to be too happy about this as we go into the stats. Yuchia Clan again out damaging, out killing as well. Only a 7,000 damage difference, but let's be real here. Throughout that entire course of the map, it wasn't a stalemate situation. It was only in the final game, game number 2, where we noticed that Yuchia Clan were playing a lot better in many ways. But U4O had a very good Piper, was picking off so many different players at so many different occasions, or even taking out Rama's Piper as well. But enough of that. That was set number 4, and we are going to go into set number 5. It will be on quick skip. It will be a bit of bounty, and we know what bounties could be like here, Teddy. Can be a little bit of a coin flip. Both these teams are very evenly matched now, and Kozaki now must be scratching their heads thinking, you know, what can we do to fight off Yuchia Clan and stop them from getting this 3-2 victory?
Man, this map is looking scary as well, with the teleporters on the sides and some pretty interesting map design. It is going to be Kozaki to pick up the first star, the blue star, thanks to Sam on that Mortis. But the Mortis, we'll see how that works in the longer run. Movement speed is going to be pumped. Sam already low HP, going to get melted down, and he just gave their lead back to Uchiha.
Okay, that's interesting. U4 has pulled all the way back, but you saw there X were trying to push in through to try and take one of them down, or maybe into a trade. That does not happen. Kozaki is on the back foot, down 4 stars to 1. Still early days yet, minute 20 left on the clock. Sem just going straight in and has been taken down. Sadly, his Mortars won't be joining in the fray. NG takes down 2 players, took down X as well as Sem, and now they're the ones with full map control. 8-1 now. Yuchia Clan, it's just a completely different team from what we saw earlier on, and you know, you can't make this stuff up, Tilly.
Yeah, you certainly can't. Look at that, X going down once more. I don't really understand that comp too well from Uchiha, to be honest. I mean, we do have a bit of a pop-off moment right now from Sam, but he doesn't get a single kill out of that. Uchiha winning by 13 stars for now. This could be the reverse sweep happening, and honestly, I feel like this comp was a big risk from Kozaki. I don't think they should have gone for that.
Yeah, we're not really too sure. We know Sam loves to play his Mortis, but hasn't really done too much of it as of yet. Ollie doing a good job of that tick, just keeping his opponents at bay, but also inflicting a nice amount of damage in the process using that map presence. But now he's directly next to 2 of the players of Sem and U4O. It's not going to help him in the slightest now, as X does take down Rama and also one of the other players from Yuchia Clan, but it's still 14-7. A lot more needs to be done, maybe even a full team wipe is in order. If they take down NG, that'll be huge for them. NG does get taken down. It's 16-14. One more will do it. And Kozaki was going to take that 19-16, but right at the very last second, Yuchia Clan managed to get that last kill on the board at 21-19 here. An absolute powerhouse of a moment there, Teddy. And yeah, it was looking very, very close until those last couple of seconds. Good indication of what was going to happen there, and good flanking from both sides.
Dude, that was a ridiculous way to end that game. Match point for Uchiha coming up, guys. Oh my, the reverse sweep might be happening, guys. Is it gonna be the reverse sweep, or can Kozaki match that match point and push things to the final game of the final set? Both are definitely possible here. I mean, Kozaki, I think their comp did struggle quite a bit. The more this can work, but only if it really pops off, and it only did it towards the end. Here we go, Sam gonna pick up the blue star. That's early lead for them, but Angie picks up the kill, and Uchiha Clan, once again, they sure don't get that blue star, but they definitely managed to seal it off later on.
Yeah, we know Sam's normally the first man in to go for that blue star every game on Bounty. This time round, without the Mortis, he couldn't get away, which is a little bit of a shame, but Ollie's taken a fair amount of damage, pulling all the way back, but so does Ramona. There's could be a time for them to try and make a push, but they haven't got the numbers advantage. This is the only problem. Sem realizes that and goes straight in on NG, and will be recovering on that left lane, but Ollie now is pulling all the way back. Rama's taking down X. NG only been taken down just a little bit here, but it's just going to hover behind Ollie just to play a little bit of support until he knows exactly what the full SP is on that bottom middle side. Sem and U4O sticking together, whilst X just using that tick to make sure keeps opponents at bay. It is tied 4-4, but Kozaki do have that blue star to their name. NG looking to be aggressive on that left lane, but X stops Ollie as only two players on that left lane. They're trapped there. NG looking to get taken down, does get traded, and you see Rama still hovering around that left lane. Sem eventually takes him down, up 12-6, and now looking very good for the side of Kozaki.
Pull onto NG. Kozaki just riding up that lead. Furthermore, 30 seconds left, and Uchiha Clan, they really want to catch up. They've had such a good comeback so far in this match. They don't want to let this get to double match points. They have worked so hard for this, but it is a 3-star difference only. Sem holding 5 right now, so Uchiha Clan, they have two ways out. Either they take down U4O and X, or just Sem. And in both those scenarios, they can't afford to lose any players. Push coming through, 4 seconds left. It seems like it's only going to be U4O going down, and Kozaki tying things up completely. It's 2-2 in sets, 1-1 in this final set. We're going to the final game of the final set in this matchup. That is all the way as much as it gets. And one game here, the next game, is going to be deciding this entire matchup.
Yeah, the story of this series. This has probably been the funnest series, but also the weirdest series we've ever seen throughout this entire league. But it's great to see that Kozaki. I was worried for them. Yuchia Clan have just been on an absolute tear since set 3. I don't know what they've said or what the IGL said to them to inspire them to get to this point, but yeah, you know, congrats to him for actually being able to motivate the rest of his team to, you know, come back from this reverse sweep. But you want to know, Kozaki have come back in that game. Sadly for Yuchia Clan, they just didn't have enough DPS combined to then try and get one of those players down at the very end. And pretty much a similar scenario of what we saw in that last game of this set anyway. But who's going to take it though? You know, there's a lot of questions to be asked. It's very hard to decide who is going to take what. But, you know, in this next game going into this last set as well, match point for both these players to determine who is actually going to go through in this international finals. I'm very curious to see what these comps are going into this final set of the final game.
Yeah, maybe we're gonna go to something a bit more traditional, maybe not at all. This could all be possible. Man, this has been quite a story so far, but we are ready, guys. This is double match point. Whoever wins this game wins this entire match. Whoever wins this game is going to the playoffs. The loser team is gonna go home empty-handed. It could really go either way. Rama is really aggressive early on. He does manage to pick up the kill, not punished just yet, but Sims will be able to get the trade. That's the blue star, making the difference for Kozaki as they have the lead. And U4 are gonna miss a pull there as well.
very unorthodox start here. Kozaki are playing a lot better now. Even though they played well the last game, they seem a lot more coordinated, a lot more in sync in comparison. Just a different structure there as they're both going through the tellies to go for the flank. And Rama's still looking to push in here, trying to trap X if he can. But U4O has come into the fray to try and clean up Rama if he can, but he doesn't. As U4O is taken out by Rama as well. As Kozaki is already up by 2 stars. And you saw there, Sem managed to finish off that last kill. So they have pulled back for now. Sem and U4O just biding their time, just using some of the cover to their advantage. But U4O stops Rama pushing from the middle. And Ollie and Renji are still on that left lane. But Ollie is trapped, so he's looking to go for the telly, possibly if he can. But all 3 members just focused on Ollie whilst Rama's pushing on that right lane telly.
Yeah, Kozaki leading by 5, and Uchiha, they need to catch up. The pull comes through. U4 with a kill, Sam with another kill. This is looking like the end potentially for Uchiha. 28 seconds left. Oliver falls to U4O, and things are just looking better and better for Kozaki. I think they may have done it, little. I think they may have done it. 20 more seconds as Uchiha have one of their final chances to make something out of this match. Oliver goes down. That is gonna be it, I believe, guys. That is gonna be it. 4 more seconds. The team wipe is there. Kozaki take down Uchiha clan 3-2 in sets in an unbelievably close and back and forth match. What a comeback from Uchiha, but it's not quite gonna make the cut as they just fall short towards the end. Man, one game away. Uchiha clan are gonna be out of the qualifiers, or rather the group stage, right? So no Uchiha in the playoffs. It's gonna be Kozaki to go instead. And dude, Kozaki was an insane performance today, but also just overall throughout this Gamestar season.
Yeah, commiserations to Uchiha clan. A fantastic comeback. Sadly for them, they couldn't finish their food, but Kozaki, yeah, it's been a roller coaster ride for him for the last hour just in this series overall. The only talking point, one of the key factors there, you saw Uchiha clan were trying to develop a strategy where 2 of the players were going to go through the telly and flank round and it was perfectly in sync, perfectly well timed, but it took so long to execute. But Kozaki was more than prepared for it. That's the thing. That's why prioritization on certain opponents is absolutely vital in those kind of moments. And that's how close it was. 21 to 19 kills. Kozaki had a lot more map presence in terms of damage, 49,000 more damage in comparison to Uchiha clan. But commiserations to Uchiha clan. They are the kind of team you would expect to see them in the international finals, not as favourites, but at least get into the top 16. And these are the full match stats here. 45,000 more damage. Even the kills, there's only a 6 kill difference in comparison. That just shows how close it was. Technically 1 or 2 kill difference per set. But what a fantastic way to finish off that second match of the day. And these were the overall standings. Big did actually qualify from Group B. Since they placed first, they went straight to the international finals, but Kozaki will be joining them in the international finals, which will be played next Wednesday onwards. But that's not it for now. We've still got 1 more series left between Platoon and Activium. It's going to be another great match, an absolute banger for you guys to watch, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few minutes, but before that, you're going to see a few highlights. Hello everyone and welcome back to again another edition of Brawl Stars from Gamestars League. I'm Lethal John with Teddy again as usual. And yeah, what a series, Teddy. I think, you know, my blood pressure was a little bit high from that. I've recovered now, so I've had a few minutes to kind of calm down a little bit. But we are going to go to the last series of the day between Platoon and Activium. And I think a lot of people will look at this and think, okay, you know, Activium should be the ones probably going into this, you know, maybe as the favourites due to the fact that they have played once before in the opener match in Group C. And rightly so, but the only difference was Platoon did look much better this time round, like going for the elimination bracket when their backs are against the wall. But now their backs are seriously against the wall now due to the fact that this is their last chance to make the international finals. For Activium, of course, it's the, you know, they are in the same boat. But Activium do look a lot better in many ways. Structure, strategy, how they are as a team. Just so many different elements to their gameplay which makes them who they are. And just looking at the overall popular brawlers in terms of what they use overall throughout the entire course of Gamestars League. As you can see, the only difference is maybe Tix use a little bit of 8-bit here and there more often than usual. But apart from that, that's about it.
Yeah, one thing that I want to point out as well is that in this Group C, for the opener match, Team Activium and Platoon actually did already face each other once, and it went into a 3-0 sweep for Team Activium. So a very convincing win. I think maybe like one game going the way of Platoon. You can see it on the top left. But yeah, it was a very, very one-sided affair. And it is true that Platoon played much better afterwards against Golden Age in the elimination match. But, you know, this was like 2 days ago. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a full-on sweep again for Team Activium. Obviously, Platoon, they're probably the team that improved the most out of that situation, right? Because they got swept 3-0. They had a lot of footage to look at and see what they could fix, maybe try to find some patterns on the side of Team Activium that they could be exploiting. But we got our bans ready. That's going to be Bell on the side of Activium, and then Max for Platoon. And Max, I really like that. Max feels like a very targeted ban. Perhaps, you know, very specific to one of the players of Activium. I'm not so sure, but Max is just a really strong brawler overall, and I feel like it's a much more powerful ban than Bell as well, because Bell, everyone wants to ban it, everyone bans it, it's banned constantly, and it just means that, you know, it's a bit of a default ban. You don't really get a huge advantage from banning it. It's more of not getting a disadvantage, whereas if you ban a very specific brawler that your opponents are going to be using better than you are, then you are actually getting better off that ban, and that's really what Platoon are going for. So I like that a whole lot, but we got our maps and most in front of us. Safe Zone, Olive Branch, Field Goal, Triumvirate, and the Quick Skip are going to be our maps. This means that we get every single game mode except for Gem Grab.
Well, you're not wrong, Teddy. You're not wrong indeed. This is the last series of the day. Very excited to see what can happen between these two teams. Now, yeah, you're right. Activium have played Platoon before, and I don't think Platoon were kind of ready for, you know, the speed and aggression, the tempo which Activium brought to the table in that opener match earlier in the week. Now, the problem is now how they're going to retaliate. Like, they looked much better, like, compared to how you saw them in the opener match. In the elimination match, I know it wasn't the same team, but the style of play was just a lot better in numerous different ways. So hopefully Platoon can put up a much better fight against Activium this time around. This is kind of like their revenge match. But let's see what's happening here. We are going to go to the first set. Game number 1. This is the last series of the day. If you're just joining us, we're going to send in the one last team to the international finals. Whoever loses this, of course, goes home and has to pack their bags. But Activium already taken a little bit of damage to their safe, and it looks like they have been pressured all the way back. So good start here from Platoon.
Yeah, the Ticks is gonna fall to Sammy, and look at that, Sammy getting so much damage done in just like about 2 seconds and a half, full blasting that fire on to the safe. Ticks gonna be coming in, looking for some shots onto Sammy, but Nickop has been playing off that cold very, very well so far. Takes quite a bit of damage though. Nice snipe from Gugu. Steady, low HP as well, and that's just going to be some more damage on that save from Gugu.
Yeah, Gugu's Piper, just his aim, raw aim overall has been so good. Just really causing a problem for Sadelka. Sadelka now trying to, get a little bit of revenge from the amount of damage he took earlier on from the side of Platoon. But Sadelka now manages to capitalize on that kill, looking for Sammy on that left side as well. Will he be able to do much? We pushed it a little bit too far, but has pulled back anyway just in time. Sammy though, only on 142 HP, and you can see Stady actually realized that and was looking to go in a little bit further, but of course he is not going to overextend. Sadelka has the range to maybe try and go for that if he can, but not before Tix actually takes a little bit of damage on to the side of Activium's save. So still got a little bit of time left, 32% deficit in comparison from both his teams, but much better from what we've seen from Platoon so far. Finally got map control. Took a fair amount of time here, not too late as of yet, but still got 30 seconds before they can make something happen.
Yeah, the Ticks getting some good shots down onto Nickop. Gugu pushing up is gonna go for the jump in. Not entirely sure if that's the way to go, but they'll find another shot down on that save. Steady is low HP. Nickop was a nice beam onto Sordalka, and he's gonna get some more shots down on that save to just close things out. Nothing that Platoon can do at this point. This was a very convincing first game from Activium. Pretty much what we expected getting into this match.
Yeah, Tekin's aim with the Piper at the start was very good. Gave Sadelka a lot of issues, a lot of problems. Couldn't really, it was forced him to play in different lanes just to try and avoid his, avoid his mechanics just in general. He came back in the end, got a little bit of revenge on Gugu at the time, managed to retaliate in a numerous amount of ways. And yeah, you've got to remember, Sammy, like you said, during that first minute of the game, did so much damage to that safe, way more than what he should have done. He kind of got away with murder there, considering the fact that he kind of overstayed his welcome in that left lane. But he did the damage, he did the deed, and managed to pull back nicely as well. So, good stuff from him, good objective play as well, and just took the advantage when he saw such a huge gap in the market. So now we're going to go to game number 2. Activium did look a lot more structured in comparison. I wouldn't say it's an exact same replica of what we saw in the opener match earlier on in the week, but it does seem like it could be, pretty much ditto from what we saw from the opening match as well in a few other ways. So it's going to be very difficult to kind of determine what's going to happen. It's only the first game, but already a good indication to show that Activium are looking very strong in this series.
Yeah, the trends so far looking the same as they always have between those two teams for this Gamestar season. Team Activium dominant, but yeah, we're never safe from Platoon switching things up, getting a really strong comp here and there, getting some momentum and maybe trying to swing things around to their side. But so far, it is still following the pattern of Activium being the superior team, and Platoon have yet to really prove that wrong. But yeah, it's always possible. It's always going to be possible. They are going to be the underdogs coming into this one. Obviously, just because we already had that match on Wednesday and it went very convincingly the way of Team Activium. But yeah, maybe this first set is not exactly it for them either, and they did prepare some of the other sets better. Who knows? We will be finding that out soon enough. However, so far, yeah, it has been pretty one-sided in that first game.
Yeah, it was sad to see, really, but I feel we've got to understand, in competitive Brawl Stars or just competitive esports alone, you can rectify some mistakes in like a couple of weeks, but in a couple of days, it's very difficult. If there's like one major problem in the gameplay, maybe, but it depends how much time it takes. But in a couple of days, it's super hard, super difficult to kind of overcome. And now they have to play the exact same team again, and this is the problem you see. So we should technically see a similar scoreline, but I'm hoping Platoon do manage to change that prediction. But as you can see here, Sadelka has been taken down. Actually switched to Colette in the end, and Stady has actually switched to the Piper. So, pretty much the same comp, but just a switcheroo there. As Sammy pushing that left lane once again, Sadelka just hoping to see he can help out Stady with the amount of damage he can input in terms of Sammy on that left side, but decides to pull back, rightly so as well. Definitely way too close for comfort as Google takedown ticks, and actually now Activium are down by 25% on their save, and Platoon are looking to figure out ways how to push up again.
Yeah, good snipes from Gugu. Has been very consistently hitting those shots. Steady getting a couple of shots on as well. Homemade recipe to pick up the kill onto Nikom. Jump back from Activium's Piper. Sammy on the left-hand side wants to get that burn down. We'll get it onto Sordauka. This should result in a kill. It's gonna get a second burn. That was maybe not exactly necessary since he would have gone down anyways. But nevertheless, more damage coming through onto that blue save. Sammy trying to hold on to his lane as good as he can, but Steady does find quite a bit of control towards the center area. It's going to be pushing up. Sordauka with the super as well. And now suddenly Platoon, they do have a bit of a lead, but nothing too significant, especially now that we have a couple of kills going the way of Activium. Look at that. They get such a big burst of damage out of nowhere. Steady getting tagged up as well, and their save left to 24%.
Sadly for them, though, it took way too much time to try and push in, because by the time they pushed in, they can just abuse the respawn immunity, and then that way they won't do all the damage they'd like to on the save. Could have taken it out if they pushed in a little bit quicker and got the team right, but again, at the same time, they were way too far away. Sammy continued to do an amazing job in that left lane, just causing an absolute ruckus for Sordauka, but Sordauka's actually done a lot better in terms of responding to some of the attacks he was making. Activium looking like they will be taking this game. Game number 2, set 1 goes in favour of Activium. What we expected and what we predicted, but Platoon put up a better fight compared to the first game.
Yeah, they certainly did. It was very, very one-sided once again. There were some chances from Platoon here and there. It was closer than game number 1, but it was still a pretty dominant game in favor of Activium. And if you look at the set in a whole, as a whole, they did absolutely dominate through this one. Activium looking super good. It is only set 1. Nothing is played, nothing is set in stone just yet, except that Activium, they kick things off with the set lead, and they're looking pretty good in this matchup, to be honest.
Yeah, one of the big issues they had was dealing with Sammy in that left lane, but they managed to deal with it quite well. So Delka switched to the Colette and then was holding the left lane, and then it's a lot better. But then, you know, after that change, it just caused other issues which didn't occur in the first one. So it was like they rectified one mistake, but then it created a few others, which is a little bit of a shame. But again, look at the stats, 24 kills to the 15 of Platoon, and only a 1k damage difference between these two teams as well, which kind of shows that Activium, as soon as they smelled any kind of advantage, they took it by the horns and literally just went straight and did a huge amount of damage onto the save, again on numerous occasions. But that was the first set, like you said, Teddy. We are going to go to Siege, Olive Branch, to find out how and what ways Platoon can, again, try and make a comeback. But it's a tall order here. It's a big ask, but I hope for Platoon they can try and figure out something, rummage something up in order to give Activium a better fight.
Olive Branch is a pretty controversial map, especially when it was in the competitive map pool towards the end of last year, I believe. It was either very much liked or really much hated. And I was amongst the people that really enjoyed it, especially because I really like Sprout, and it used to be so dominant here. We could see some Sprout on this one. I feel like the regular Max, Jean, Sandy, well, Max is banned, but those kind of comps work a bit less well on this map, just because, for example, with Jean, you can't really like stay together because the lanes are so like separated from each other. Just like with a Sandy super, sure, it's great for one lane, but then it's not like some other maps where you know, one Sandy super covers all of the objectives. Here it only covers 1/3 of the lanes, and it's not really as a good value wise. So I'm really interested to see what they're going to be playing. I think some great options could be maybe Pam for some of the lanes like the mid. What else? Sprout still, I think, really strong. Throwers in general, Barley gonna be good. Surge gonna be really good with his TP as well. Carl should be a pretty viable option too. I'm not so sure what else, to be completely honest. It is a map I haven't seen played in competitive in a while, and I'm really curious to see what they bring Scump-wise, we start things up with a Pam, with an Amber. Amber didn't think about that, but definitely makes a lot of sense. And actually, pretty much all the Barley I said. Pam in the center. We got a Carl and an Amber, and then 2 Barleys.
Yeah, you were spot on with the Pam and the Barley. So, good stuff. See, this is why you're with me, Teddy, to make these, predictions, like, literally right almost every time. So, good on you. As now we're going to go towards the left lane. The Stadium Sadelka on that left lane to try and trap Sammy, which they have done. And Stady has been taken down, sadly, in that left lane. But next stage isn't for another 40 seconds, as the Bolt lead is in favour of Activium. Still got a fair amount of time as of yet. Platoon have managed to come back. Is now Sadelka just pushing away, helping out Stady, but it doesn't matter as he's taking down Sammy in the process, so that shouldn't be an issue. But look on the right lane though, Gugu's gone back down to 931 HP. Tix just being a pain in the backside, just making sure his backs are against the wall. Sadelka's just heavily pushing, very, very aggressive play here. Tix did a huge amount of damage, but Sammy took 2 out in the process. With Stady now just looking to see if he can try and help out by getting any trades. But not going to happen. Still going to get the bolts. But look at that though. 13 bolts to 6. What a huge amount going into this this next bot.
Yeah, it is going to be a pretty good bold lead for the next one. So if Activium can defend this successfully, which so far is not really looking too good, as we do have quite a bit of damage coming through. I don't think they can quite close it out. They are going to lose the ticks in the process as well. Sadelka taking a bit of damage. But yeah, 13% left. That's not ideal, especially with Barleys. They can kind of just swoop in and close that one out. We'll see if they leave large enough opening for that. They didn't really seem aware of it. Steady's just chilling on that left side. I think he could maybe even go for a dive or something along those lines. It's going to be a big siege bot for Activium coming up, but nevertheless, Platoon, they could end things with a dive here. I think they might go for it. Yep, they're going for it. Oh, a bit of a miscommunication. Steady should have been diving at the same time. They would have gotten that for sure. But yeah, somehow that's going to be falling apart, and now suddenly a chance for Activium to maybe find some more damage. They are struggling a bit to catch up. It is going to be a close affair. The dive coming through. Some more shots. Is it going to be enough? Yes!
As if that even happened, and that was so weird. It looked like from the bot anyway that there wasn't going to be enough damage. They did jump it though. They literally just used their initiative, but this is the problem you see. The fact that they obviously just went on the same page towards the ends on the side of Platoon, and you're right though, they would have had way more than enough damage, even with the Barley especially, just to throw a couple of shots off, just to whittle it down to a certain extent. Maybe just go for the trade. Like, there's nothing wrong with doing that in this process, because if he lost the Barley and went for the trade, and maybe it didn't actually take down the turret in any way, then he would have respawned, used the immunity to pull the rest of his teammates back and help with that siege bot at the end. So very strange. Platoon, they probably should have won that, but Activium, good comeback from them.
Yeah, it was definitely a better game from Platoon, their best one so far, but it wasn't quite enough. Activium, somehow they managed to make that dive work. There was some very weird stuff happening here and there as well. I think that towards the end, Platoon, they could have 100% dived that Ike towards the end. Let me run some math. The Ike has 45,000 damage health, right? If you divide that by 0.13, actually multiply it, because otherwise that's not going to work out. That's 5,850 HP. That means that 3 Barley shots are enough to take it out. That means that 100% you can dive that and take it out, especially if you have an Ember that can tank a shot or two. Then he can get 4 shots, and no matter what, it's like easy peasy, just a victory. So that was kind of a throw from Platoon. They should have been able to close that one out. I don't see in what world they didn't decide to dive with 2 people, not really anyone defending towards the end, and decided not to dive with a Barley on that Ike. That was a free win.
And it's like also saying as well, even if it was mathematically impossible in some way, at least the risk would have been there, because if they didn't take it down, then it would have been enough damage to win anyway, and it would have come up on the respawn and would have helped out. So could have killed 2 birds with 1 stone technically. So he would have actually been able to do both jobs, and he was way out of line. He was just way, okay, we'll forget about that. That was the last game anyway, but we'll go into game number 2 of set 2. and we'll see what Platoon can do. Hopefully they won't throw this like the last one. But Gugu has been taken down by Sadelka. Sadelka now just looking to see if he can add some extra pressure, but the siege will be tied. It is 3-all currently in bolts. Sadelka's taken even more damage from the Barley on the side of Activium, but Activium doing a lot better job in terms of their map control. Managed to get the kills they so desperately required, and Staddy has been taken down as well. So Sadelka and Tix just waiting to regroup. And now how are they going to retaliate here? It's already Gugu's going straight in on Tix. Manages to clean him up and also gets a bit of damage on Sadelka. Good start on that left lane. Done so much work there.
Yeah, Activium, they really caught on. I mean, Platoon had a bit of a better start, but didn't last for very long. This is going to be a fat siege bot coming up in favor of Activium. They will be getting a couple more bolts before the countdown ends as well. Actually, it's only going to be the one, so a 5-bolt lead for siege bot number 3. That's not a bad situation for either teams. It's definitely a situation where both teams can still win, but look at that, not a whole lot of value off that push. Will get some decent damage, but for a level like 13 siege bot, I feel like they could have gotten some more. They could actually probably have dived that as well, to be completely honest. Not gonna go for it, and now it's gonna be a bit more dangerous because Sordelka is in the middle. No one is contesting him just yet. Nickup does come, but it's still gonna be 2 bolts capped by Platoon, which means that they are gonna get this siege bot. Honestly, I'm a bit like astonished because in the previous game, Platoon lost a game because they didn't dive, and they would have won it otherwise. I think that this could be the same, but for Activium, I think they could have dived it earlier, and for some reason they decided not to. Sammy gonna go for the super, gets a couple of shots down. It's not going to be that much damage, and the defense here is not going to be an easy task for Activium. I think they might lose that game.
I think they will indeed. Look at the percentage so far. Activium did lose that eventually, so like you said before, basically the same mistakes, just opposite end of the spectrum. Very strange from what we saw, but Activium, you know, they did their best to try and defend that bot, but like they had to take half damage very quickly, couldn't really deal with the rest. And good stuff from Platoon, a good response there from, you know, the mistakes they made in game number 1. Some teams can fall apart a little bit and break away, considering they knew full well that, you know, we were discussing it and saying, yeah, look, if they jumped it earlier when they had 12% on the turret, that should be fine. That should be way more than enough, and it's worth the risk anyway after the respawn. And I think one of the players on Activium who was playing the Barley actually, okay, he wasn't going to jump it, but with the Barley at least use his super and just throw a couple of shots off in case the percentages are quite close. Made sure he was taken down on purpose, went on the respawn, abused the immunity, and then see what he can do from there. But sadly for them, it wasn't going to work out for them. Activium are still up 1-0, but this is game number 3 now. Whoever wins this game will take the set, and Platoon need this desperately to tie things up.
Yeah, 10 seconds left before the first siege bot. Activium got the first bolt. That could be the only one that gets banked here in the first preparation phase, and indeed Activium get the siege bot off that. The Tix able to bank an extra bolt, seal it from Sammy. Will be falling, or maybe not just yet, as he does survive for the time being. Almost picks up a kill on Nickup as well, but siege bot is pushing up. A good super from Sammy, getting some nice shots down on Steady as well. Will keep him low HP, and 29% was a level 1 siege bot. That's not a bad push from Activium.
Sadelka as well, good job from him, just trying to delay the bot's movement as much as he could, as well as inflicting a huge amount of damage whilst he was passing by. But still though, 29%, still a good start for first siege spot. Sorry, first siege bot, excuse me. And Gugu has been taken down by Sadelka in that left lane. But Static though managed to get one of his own still in that right lane, fighting Sama there. And then now Tix is still in that centre half of the map. So Platoon, what are they going to be able to do here? How can they retaliate after that last siege bot? And already Gugu's trying to do so much. Managed to delay the bot in the process. And also a good defense from Activium here. The siege bot won't be able to do too much damage, but you saw a bit inflicted from the Barley, only down to 87%. So this last siege bot's going to make a huge, huge difference. And Activium are only up by 1 bolt.
Yeah, Gugu is getting some more bolts over there. Oh, he manages to barely dodge that super. That's 2 bolts secured, and that could make the difference in the end. Well, actually, they have control of every single lane right now. All of the bolts spawning on top of them. And Activium, they are going to get this final siege bot. They already have the damage lead which means that they pick up the win here. Activium with this second set in the bag. It was a much closer set than set number 1, but still a pretty convincing win from Team Activium as they double down on that lead, extended to a 2-0 scoreline, and now only need one more set to close out this match and go to the international playoffs.
A little bit too close for comfort there, in my opinion, but Activium a lot better, going into that third game. Definitely what we've seen previously in the first set. But let's go through the highlights, so just a little bit, just to discuss exactly what happened. We know in that first game there was a huge blunder from Platoon, where they definitely could have taken that first game jumping on that turret, but it doesn't matter because Activium did the exact same thing in game number 2. The only difference is the percentage was a lot higher. I think it was 38% at the time. So it was a little bit of a risk. They just weren't really too sure if they should go for it or not. Kind of one of those decisions you need to make on the fly rather than, have a thought-provoking discussion about it and then try and execute it afterwards. So you could say it was a similar mistake as well. Completely agree with what Teddy said earlier in that second game. But the third one from Activium, much, much better. Exactly what we expected. Good structure, good coordination, good pressure especially in that left lane. And now we need to see what Platoon can do. They're in the exact same position as they were on Wednesday. Down 2-0 in the series. Could be a 3-0 sweep. But let's have a look at the set stats from that last series. At least Platoon managed to get that one game back. 3 kills more for Activium. 7,000 more damage. The map presence have been very, very similar in both sets and across all the games. As Activium just know how and when they should make the push.
Yeah, Team Activium just getting the more impactful bots. And honestly, the first win was the crazy dive. That was just a big clutch on their end for Activium. And they were able to just, absolutely kill it. And so far, it's looking good for Activium. We could be looking at another 3-0. It seems like a closer match than their first encounter in the opener match, which also went 3-0, but much more one-sided, even more. So it's better from Platoon. Is it good enough to really be a threat to Activium? Well, it seemed like it was in Siege. In Heist, not really. In Brawl, it's going to have to be even more than a threat. It's going to have to be a victory for Platoon. Otherwise, it's already going to be over for them.
Certainly will be indeed. Can't really say it any better myself. So going to set number 3, field goal, bit of Brawl Ball. Now, this is going to be very, very tough. Activium were pretty good on Brawl Ball from what I saw in previous matchups. Not this match is in particular, but we'll have to see because Activium, they're going to be riding the momentum. I think when they saw the first, the opening match between these two teams, I think they're going into this with no pressure at all. They've been quite comfortable about this. And Platoon, they haven't really got any pressure either because they've got nothing to prove. But it's going to be setting, in the back of their minds, knowing that what happened before, this is going to be a repeat again of what happened in this series. But we've seen some elements in their gameplay where they can prove, and actually have proved us wrong in some ways, where they definitely can, make the effort to take them down. And, this has got to be it. This is the last set of their lives, really, in their tournament. And if they don't win this, that's it. They're going to be sent home packing, and Activium are going to be the ones going through into the international final. So if you just joined us, this is the last series of the day. Potentially the last set, as we're going to send the 16th and last team into the international finals and the last team home, as Activium are up 2-0 as we go into set number 3. Sadelka already a good start with that kill. Sammy is having to pull all the way back, and let's see if Platoon can respond from these previous couple of games.
Yeah, so far a fairly even start around that center area. We do have a push coming through. Steady might be able to catch that ball, but he's going to be low HP and falling down to Sammy. Nice kill. Sammy low HP gets taken out by Sordelka, and now Platoon with a bit of an opening to get some more control. Gugu gonna miss his charge shot and take so much damage. Oh my, the Tick's just absolutely beaming him down. Good shot from Steady onto Nickop. This is the chance for Platoon. They could get that goal here. Gugu gonna try to corner the ball up. TP plays by Sordelka to tank a bit more, but somehow Activium, they're able to defend this one off, and I didn't really see that one coming, but they make it work so far.
That's right. You saw Vectivium just abusing the map geometry, just knowing that as long as they keep behind that structure and just keep them at bay, it should be fine. Platoon, I feel like if they just shot the ball into the line anyway, whilst giving away some pressure, then that should be okay, because by then they can respond and then put it in no problem. But I think it was the same with one of the teams yesterday, where they just put a lot of pressure on, but the respawn timings just wasn't in their favour. But we'll see what the Rust can do here on that left lane. But Sammy's also pushing on the right side as well. But Tix is trying to keep him at bay if he can. Good damage from him, good takedown as well. And Steady's just trying to tickle a little bit of damage onto Gugu on the left side. Still being careful as well, working together very well with Tix from the right lane and also. And we can see Sadelka trying to join the fray as well, trying to get the ball to their side if he can. But so far, the timing of his respawns have been very, very difficult for the side of Platoon, as they just can't really get anything going here.
Yeah, good kill from the Tix as overtime kicks in. Don't think he can capitalize on that too much. Might be going for a charge shot. Is going to dash forward instead. A good decision, is getting some good damage down, but he's going to get slowed as well. Sammy going in for a dash of his own. Sordelka, can he take him down? No, it's going to be Sammy to pick up the kill. Now we have a push from Activium out of nowhere. The pass coming through, but the Tix makes it out of there with the ball and is gonna defend off at least for a bit longer, and overtime is gonna be a bit of a challenge. The 8-bit will have the most ranger on the map. Damage booster as well, beams down Gugu. The Tix was the follow-up kill, and that's gonna be Platoon with the goal. And look at that, Static seems very intense about that win. That must have been a pretty intense game, and it really was, and you can see it coming down to the faces of those players. Platoon was a game down. It's their second game in this entire match, but for the first time they have the lead in a set, and maybe that momentum is going to be enough to actually convert that towards a set going their way.
Yeah, you can see it's not affected their mindset in the slightest. Mentality-wise, they seem to be looking pretty good. I know many people in that position wouldn't be, considering the series scoreline, but that was much, much better. It's a lot more convincing, a lot more clean, and even then, it was just due to the fact that they just couldn't get the respawn timings right. There's always one person coming out of respawn with the respawn immunity just to keep them back, or kicking the ball back into the corner every single time. But you've seen some of the top teams, they will literally just push the ball, and not push the ball as in like literally dribble it straight in, but if there's any kind of a structure around the goal line in that kind of way, they'll literally just kick the ball straight at them, and that way try and inflict as much damage as possible to get some kind of team wipe going, rather than leaving them huddled behind all that structure. Again, like I said earlier, abusing that map geometry. But they would rather just be patient, wait for the respawn timings, but they got there in the end. I know it took them to sudden death, but I do feel like it was a little bit more one-sided for Platoon here, which is what we want to see if they want to try and come back in this series.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we need more of that. We'll see what kind of a Platoon we can see, if it's a bit more like Heist earlier and Siege, or if they can keep it up just like that. It's been a lot closer, to be honest. They've been playing a lot better than on Wednesday, but we'll see if that's enough to actually take a set, because they haven't taken a set ever against Activium, at least not in Gamestars so far. Not the worst start from Platoon. They dealt a bit more damage, but Gugu does have the pool, is gonna be hitting the damage booster. That's not gonna be ideal. The bear is placed as well. Steady picks up the kill. Gugu falls to Sordelka, but that bear is going to be a bit problematic indeed. Yeah, Sordelka able to pick up that kill, and Activium, sure, they have a bit more control, but they are a man behind, so it should be evening out, and we will have some sort of a reset towards the middle area.
Sammy's hiding back and forth behind boxes, just seeing if he can time is super well. Doesn't really get too much done, but Gugu does take down Static there anyway. As Tix has fallen, Sadelka managed to get 2 for himself. Sadelka still looking to take down Sammy. Sammy's been hovering around those 4 boxes like literally the last 30 seconds. It must have been so frustrating for Sadelka playing Ring Around the Rosie for that length of time, and he's left on 78 HP on that left lane, but finally Sammy's been taken down by Static as the trade does come in. But Nixon see if he can push the ball back down just to keep it away for now, just leave him to hitch back just as slightly. Sadelka now is going to try and join back up with Static and see what they can do here, but so far it's been very even.
Yeah, so far a bit of a stalemate in this game, but Activium looking to change things around with a nice bear and a nice push. Gugu with the pass to Sammy, and that is going to be Activium with the goal. Some nice class here to top it off, and now Platoon, they need to act up. They need something going their way. Sordelka was a damage booster. It is a 2-on-2 situation right now. Gugu does manage to pick up the ball as he actually wasn't down. He was just hiding behind his team name, and a nice ball into the ticks. I think this is gonna seal the deal. Activium should be getting to match point. They might even get the second goal here. Not that it matters too much. Nick up was the trick shot, gets it in as well. You love to see it. Activium at match point. Only need one more win to go to the international playoffs. And honestly, I think they deserve it. Platoon are fighting off as good as they can. I still think we could see a bit of a comeback. We saw Platoon earlier in the first game of Brawl, very, very strong. Even this game here was still fairly close. So I wouldn't be too surprised if Platoon make it work and they pick up the next win, pushing things to the next set. But it does seem like Activium, you know, right now they can taste what the playoffs smell like, and they just don't really want to give that away or take any chances. They probably just want to end it as soon as possible.
Oh yeah, they've definitely had a flavour of what's to come in the international finals. It's just a matter of time, really. I think after the first two sets, we made the assumption that okay, Platoon are just going to, you know, possibly delay the inevitable, no matter what they can do. But this is the best we've seen them. It's a shame it's so late into the series, but it doesn't mean they can't end this and then go from there and just shift the momentum. But yeah, that last game was a lot more of a walkover in comparison. Every stalemate situation, we felt like Activium did have the upper hand mechanically and fundamentally. So it's going to be very difficult to see how they respond to this. If the comps are going to be the same, then, you know, don't be surprised if it's also going to be the same outcome as well. But it was some of those trick shots. It's just, you know, they didn't really panic in any way. They didn't rely on just dribbling to the goal line. Their thought process is very solid. They seem to improvise very well, use their initiative on many different ways. And so we'll have to see what Activium can do here, because like you said, one game away, one match point to punch their ticket into the international finals and be the final team to go into the international finals starting on Wednesday. So this is game 3, set 3, match point for Activium, like I've already mentioned. And you can see the comps are pretty much the same, and they're still mirror match. And what isn't good is the fact that they are going to be going straight in, but nothing much is going to happen. Activium managed to get that first goal.
Yeah, they're going to be running the Poco with a pretty similar comp. They do have a Jackie now as well. And look at that, Gugu got absolutely beamed down. This could be enough to pick up the goal, actually. Steady pushing up. Gonna pass it to the Dix. That's gonna be going in for sure. And Platoon, they tie things up. This is gonna be quite an interesting one, as things do keep just changing constantly. First time, it's Activium that push up and get the goal. The second time around, it was the other way around. And look at that, Steady was a great pickup. Steady might even find another kill. He will do just that. Sammy not really gonna give them any chances at pushing forward. And yeah, Activium, they do defend off this time, but it's still not exactly ideal. They don't have the most control. And I think like Platoon, they got a pretty decent comp to deal with them. Those Nita Bears can definitely cause some problems against that comp, and they are getting some nice pressure to push up, but some nice damage as well from Nickop. That's going to be both Nickop and Sordelka taking a lot of damage, but no one really going down. The Poco doing a good job at healing his teammates up, and both teams just looking for some sort of an opening.
I love that good recovery from Gugu. Managed to reheal the rest of his teammates. His Tix had to pull all the way back, so that damage sounded for him was for nothing, but the map presence was there, and he did have the right idea. And now Sordelka still looking to pitch up a little bit, as all three members of Activium are looking to see if they can get this last and final goal of the game. The Sammy is looking to try and pull back, but he's being caught by Static there. Sordelka does take down Sammy, which is absolutely huge. So now Gugu, what is he going to do? He needs to try and pull back if he can. He won't be able to recover, but maybe able to inflict some kind of damage. Maybe he might even have his super to help out further, which he does, and gives it to Nyx. So what is going to happen here? Tix does have the ball. We can push it into the corner if he gets a little bit worried in any way. Sudden death will be happening in the next 10 seconds. And Sammy just trying to hold on to that middle ground here. Gugu does join him, Again, inflicts another little bit chunk of damage. But look at that though. One of the players going straight in. That's Static just trying to do as much damage as possible. Takes down Nick at the moment in time. And Sammy gets taken down as well. So Static looking much, much better. And actually manages to score that one.
Yeah, Platoon take this game, therefore this set, and it's now going to be 2-1. Still in favor of Activium, but a set on the board for Platoon, which is where the comebacks have to start, right? You got to start somewhere. This is it, and we will have to find out if they can keep getting that momentum, keep riding on it, and move on and maybe go for full-on reverse sweep. It's possible. Still pretty unlikely, but they are getting closer and closer and already set up the first couple of steps to get their way there.
Have done indeed. It was definitely not better, you know, in terms of their passive setup and the pushes they were making. It seems like they were the better team, but it was just a bit strange though, because they had such a good start with Activium, and then Activium just fell through ever so slightly, which is a little bit strange. But Platoon showing some signs of life. Welcome to the match. Took a little bit of time, but eventually they have got there, and hopefully this will give them a bit of leadway and give them a little bit of hope, you know, some light at the end of the tunnel rather than being covered in darkness and getting 3-0'd once again. So third set does go to Platoon. It is going to be 2-1 in favour of Activium still. And as you can see, Platoon are the ones who actually had the better slaying power, 3 more kills, but the damage is, you know, the biggest parts here. Literally just under 80,000 damage. They should be very proud of themselves in terms of the map presence they managed to show this time around in comparison. As they had players like Sammy just doing so much work in that left lane, you know, just abusing some of the structure on the map. But we'll have to see as we go into the next game mode. So we'll go into Trium. It will be on Hot Zone. What do you think is going to happen here from what you've seen so far, Teddy? Because we've seen Platoon, you know, they've done a good job so far in that third set. But do you really think it's going to be enough? Do you reckon they have enough ingredients in their gameplay to really make a difference against Activium?
Honestly, Triumvirate is a bit of a complicated map as well. You end up having some solo fights, or sometimes you team up and then you go for another zone later on. So it can be very weird, and I feel like for that reason, strategically, Team Activium might be a bit superior, and I think this is the set where they close it out. But on the other hand, if maybe Activium never plays this one, then it can end up having some 1v1 fights where Platoon could be able to shine maybe a bit more and surprise them. So yeah, that's probably what I'm gonna have to go for a guess. I do feel like Activium should be able to close this one out. It is a complicated map, a map that people don't really play that much unless they have to. So yeah, I think I think they are gonna have to be careful. But this should be you know, good enough for Activium to go home with a victory.
Yeah, you should think so. The consistency is just there. They've got all the pieces to the puzzle. It's very hard to kind of predict against Platoon here. Yeah, sure, they had a good set that last time round, but you kind of felt like, you know, it's the only time we've seen a bit of life from them, you know, a little bit of fire in the belly. And you never know, if the momentum swings in their favour now, they could try and even up in terms of their skill and then maybe make something happen. But yeah, I don't want to give them too much optimism here, because I don't want to be that guy where it's like, oh, they could come. No, they don't. So, but we'll see. Going to set number 4. So, we've seen Platoon, you know, play a lot of games now during this series. We've seen them get slightly better, but I reckon it might have just been that game mode alone. Maybe that was one of their strengths. But we'll see going to to set number 4, as it will be Hot Zone, and now we'll have to find out if Platoon can continue playing to their strengths, or if Activium will just end it all in their 3-1 series.
Yeah, so far we have a pretty even start, but it seems like Activium have just a bit more control. It is fairly even though, as Gugu does get pushed up by the Tiggs. It is gonna be the kill going the way of Gugu, and now we have 2 zones under their control, so they will be banking those percentages a bit faster. But the Tiggs gonna get caught off guard by Gugu. Just did not expect him to be hiding in the bush, or I don't know too well what happened there. But it's looking fairly good for Activium, as they are about to hit the 80% threshold. Almost done with the top zone, I believe. That should be the first one to be closed out, although the middle one will actually just barely get there now, as Well, only one zone left, and it's on the bottom for Activium. They could put all their resources over there and focus on taking that one home. And that's what Platoon are doing as well, but in defense. And that does mean that they aren't capturing any percentages in the process. Low HP across the board. This is a good chance for Activium to capitalize on, and they will do just that. Nice double kill from Gugu. This is going to be Activium getting to match point.
Certainly is indeed good response from Activium. Much better, you know, just individually in a lot of occasions playing that numbers game. There was quite a few mistakes from Platoon where they were going into 1v2 fights. Maybe they just didn't realize it and expect a couple of players to be coordinated so well around that middle half. But again, yeah, this is what we expect from Activium. Just a lot better pressure. You know, it felt like they were getting suffocated quite a lot as well. So this is exactly what we wanted to see. We know this map can be quite messy at times for Hot Zone, but then again, it can be played right with the right players on the right team. You can see the coordination just works perfectly there. So good stuff from them, good control, and don't be surprised if we do see this in game number 2. But Platoon, though, we see some weird things from them. Maybe it's just Brawl Ball was just one of their biggest strengths.
Yeah, that is very much possible. This did not look too good on their end, to be completely honest with you. I feel like comp-wise, it was an advantage for Team Activium, a slight advantage, that'd be it, but still an advantage too, finding a lot of value, being able to really find out very well. And then every single lane was just, you know, going very well on the side of Team Activium. It's not like they were like out-strategizing them, they were just, you know, outplaying them and out-aiming them, out-mechanicking them, which is a new word I just invented, but I feel like it applied very well to this situation.
I love it, mate. We're going to put that in the Oxford English Dictionary after this game, so don't you worry about that. So it makes you look even better, Teddy. It's all good, mate. It's all good. So we are going to go into game number 2, set for another match point for Activium, and Nick Up has been taken down by Tix. So Sadelka just still holding around that left side. Tix will be joining with him shortly. And Nick is still trying to hold into that middle zone. But Sadelka has definitely got something to say about that, as he can't really inflict much damage yet. But Tix actually flanking from the top half of the map, just trying to do a bit more damage to Nick, because he's noticed that Sadelka was having a little bit of trouble here, as Gugu's still holding on to that bottom zone, and realised that it's all his now. And Sadelka is still trying to hold onto the middle zone as well.
Nick Up with some nice control of the center. Nice pull from Sammy on the top side as well. Is going to pick up a kill. Bottom zone almost captured by Gugu as well. It's only going to come down to 10% in the center. Nick Up is there to make it happen. This is going to be it, I believe. 4 more percent. So Delka is going to survive, but it doesn't really matter because Activium, they stay in that zone. They pick up this game, set, and match, and therefore their ticket to the international playoffs as well. Congratulations to Activium for this big victory. Platoon fought off really well. We did see a lot of improvements compared to their match on Wednesday against Activium, but it wasn't enough quite yet. However, it makes you wonder, in 2, 3, 4 weeks, if they keep practicing like this, they could be able to give them a real run for their money. So good stuff from them, but sadly enough, we only have 1 ticket for the playoffs, and it's going to Activium.
Yeah, there's a lot of powerhouses on in this competition. Platoon won't be joining them, sadly, like you mentioned. And yeah, it's commiserations to him, really. You know, it's a shame that some of these teams just miss out, you know, the final hurdle to get into the finals. We've seen it with a few other teams now. And just going into the stats again. This is actually for Brawl Ball, so we'll ignore that. We won't worry about that. That was back in set number 3. But let's look at the highlights from the entire series. A lot of the times, you know, this first set, it was quite, you know, very stalemate, through a lot of this set. But then you saw Activium applying a lot more pressure later on in this set. But Activium, this is what we expected. In the opener match back in the group stage in set number 2, Activium were just all over them. But Platoon have made a huge amount of difference, a lot of changes here, and rectify some of the mistakes we need to make. But it's like I said before, you know, you could be any team, you could be the best team in the world. It's very difficult to make such drastic changes in just a couple of days. But we have seen a few improvements, which, you know, rightly so, Teddy. You know, there could be a juggernaut one day in the future if they continue to grind. But I don't want to say anything like that as of yet because it depends on how they do at future tournaments. But we'll see. We'll definitely keep an eye on them. They won't, but even though they're out, I'm sure we'll see them again in the future. But Activium definitely deserve this one way or another, and be interesting to see how they do in the finals next week.
Yeah, good stuff from Activium. They will be joining all the other teams in the international playoffs. And with that being said, that's actually all of our teams locked in. I'm not sure if we will have a run through of all the teams already today, but you will see it soon enough on socials anyways. And man, this is one of the most stacked playoffs I've seen in a long time, and it's gonna be looking good for sure. Look at that, a bit of spinning as well from Platoon. Well, that didn't really age all that well, did it? Yeah, overall, Activium was a strong performance to seal up and close out this group phase. We're now done with the second stage of the group phase, which means that all that's left are those international playoffs we have been talking about for the last month or two. So excited about that one, Little. Anything you want to maybe point out about the international playoffs that I forgot to mention?
No, not really. You said it. You've literally said it all and hyped it up enough. But you're right. Yeah, we have been constantly going on about it since day one. What was it, April 19th? Right at the very beginning, going on about how we're looking forward to seeing all these teams come together and play against each other from all tiers, on all maps as well, and all sizes. And it'll be interesting to see just how they play out going into the group stages in the international finals. 16 teams remain. 16 teams have gone home. This is the overall match stats. And even, you saying that Platoon, keep an eye out for them in the future. You can even see from the kills, okay, fair enough. There was a fair amount of opportunities, but there's still 12,000 more damage. So the opportunities were there. They need to try and pick out exactly what changes they need to make in their gameplay. So going back into the standings in Group C, Activium, you saw there in the opening match, did beat Platoon 3-0. But this time around in the decider match, Activium, they did the absolute best. Platoon, put up a much bigger fight, but sadly for Platoon, they could only bring back one set. So sadly for them, they'll be going home. But a man who is very happy, Teddy, to say release on the side of Activium is, of course, Gold Tekken. He's going to be joining us for the interview to find out his thoughts on what he thought of that game. Hello, fella. Congratulations for making the international finals. You got there one way or another. How are you feeling?
I feel good. We got the win. So I'm happy right now. My teammates play good. Some mistakes in Brawl, but that's okay. We got the win.
Yes, the W, which you definitely deserved more or less, especially in the opening match as well as the decider match today. Teddy, have you got anything to ask him?
Yeah, I was wondering because you guys played on Wednesday, I believe, against Platoon as well. And I feel like Wednesday was much more convincing on your side. How do you explain that things were a bit more complicated for you guys today against the same team?
Maybe the maps, bro. Like, I don't know. Trim rate. What's that, bro? What the fuck? Maybe the maps. and also their bans. This time they banned Max. And
yeah,
in my
was
opinion,
that a problem for you
with
guys?
Max and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, it was a very good ban on their end, and I also noticed that early on that ban was just really targeted at you guys. And since you guys banned Bell, which is a bit more of like just the OP brawler, yeah, you guys definitely struggle a bit more without the Max.
It was pretty smart to ban Max. It was very intelligent.
Yeah, it was interesting to say the least. Final question from me. Is there any teams you want to avoid, or is there any teams you're looking forward to playing against? Is there any teams you would like in particular to play in one of the groups in the international finals?
Particularly, I would play against Clash or Xo, something like that. Just to win experience, I don't care of winning, I just wanna grind,
Yeah, that's understandable. You just want to, increase the amount of experience you're going to gain. The more experience you're going to gain, obviously, the better you're going to be as a player and as part of your team overall. So, yeah, that's perfectly understandable. But congratulations once again. We will see you at the international finals next Wednesday.
Thank
and
you.
yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
I like him. He's a funny guy. He's a funny guy. But yeah, he said the same thing as any other player. Maps this, spams that. So yeah, kind of what we expected. But even though there were completely different questions from what we asked yesterday, we still got the same answers. But yeah, that's almost we've got time for here, Teddy. And before we go though, we are going to look at the group stage from stage 2 to find out exactly what happened. So as you can see here, the first place team will qualify straight into the international final. So Noble Elite, Big, Bojo's Barmy Army, love that name, and Na'Vi have gone straight through. And the silent matches from the second and third place teams, we've already got those 4 remaining teams which have qualified. So, congratulations to them. The 4th place teams in these groups have also gone home. So we started with 32 teams, Teddy. We're now down to 16. And the international finals is going to be next Wednesday. So, there's not really too much to say. Is there anything you want to add, before we head off?
Well, this has already been quite an exciting first season of Gamestars. We had some incredible encounters in our group stage. I think that this end of the week was one of the best for this season, but that's only giving you a bit of a taste of what the playoffs are going to be like. This is where the real heat is going to go down. We already had some amazing stories throughout the groups stage, but man, the playoffs are going to be built different. I can tell you that much, and you need to make sure that you tune in between the 25th and the 30th to just follow those playoffs. It's going to be super exciting. We got some super strong teams from all over the European continent, and I think it's going to be an absolute blast.
So they will be indeed. I'll be with you for the entire week. Sadly for you, Teddy. I know you've got to deal with me for another week, but it's the final week, so you don't have to worry about it. But apart from that, no, that is all we got time for, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, thanks for Teddy, as always, for being with me for a couple of weeks now. He's only got one more week to deal with me, like I said, so he'll be happy about that anyway once that's all said and done. But not only that, thanks to everyone in production and you guys at home. Without you guys, these events would not be possible in the slightest. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next Wednesday for the international finals.